Hello and welcome back to the Orienteering World Cup Round 3 in Czechia. We're getting ready for the middle distance races today. And we're right on the Austrian border here in Czechia, and you can see these big forested hills that the orienteers are going to be competing in today. We've already had quite a few of the men make their way around the A final, and we're going to be focusing on them first. Will Thomas Krivda be ending up with some flowers today on the podium? So 24 degrees, it's quite similar to yesterday's conditions, not as warm, or a couple of days ago, conditions not as warm as the qualification, which will be a relief to a lot of the athletes and, of course, to their spectators as well. And with an estimated winning time around 30-35 minutes, it should be fairly comfortable for most of the athletes. They've already done the qualification then. That was back on Wednesday. The top 20 from each heat made it through, and then they were joined actually by the top 10 from the V final in the long distance, and then also the winner of the C final. So that's how we've made up the 70 or so athletes in the men's and the women's classes who are going to be competing today. And this gives you kind of a sense of the hill they're going to be competing over, the kind of different ages of the forest that you can see really show you how there's some sections of yellow, some sections of really dark green on this map, and some sections really of white as well, where it's very, very runnable. And the athletes are going to be starting near the top of the hills. That's quite a relief for some of them to know that it's a mostly downhill course. 5.4k then for the men, 150 meters, but they will descend a lot more than that. And as you can see, our estimated winning time is 32 minutes. Well, was it really exciting in the long distance to be back in the forest for this World Cup? And Jonas, I know this is going to be exciting again to see a middle distance back in this World Cup competition.
It's going to be very exciting to see it. And here we get to see the map. It's a very continental kind of middle distance. As you can see, it starts with a rather easy loop, I would say. Of course, you have to be careful when descending into controls like control number 1, because of course these cracks, they're not that easy to see if you come from above. Then 4 to 5, maybe the most interesting leg of the course. It's a route choice. I wouldn't say the route choice is really, you don't decide it with the thought like which is the quickest one. I think it's more about which one do I want to execute, but we'll come back to this one. There's a loop 5 to 7, quite tricky at control 6. I think it is a map flip, or 7. And then the TV control is at control 10. And the second part, then again, downhill orienteering. Here we have another kind of a route choice, because you can drop down to the path, which the course planner thinks is the quickest one. Then quite many controls here, short controls to control to TV split number 2 at control 16. And then it's kind of transportation back. I don't think it's the most difficult controls. Of course, you have to be careful. You can lose control time at any of the controls here. But it's not so difficult in the very end. I think the special thing about the course like this is that you have to do a lot of navigation with the green areas, which is common in continental terrain, not that common in Scandinavian terrain. This is the route choice to control number 5. If you take the blue one, you barely do any climbing. You stay on height, you drop first, and then you stay on height. I think can be quicker, but it's very, very stony. So in the meeting yesterday, we get to know there's no stone on the map in that area smaller than 3 meters high. So this is very, very stony here. And here we see 7 to 8. We are in this area. Runnability is still rather good. It's not the kind of terrain where you crack your ankle or you have to be careful, but there's so many stones, and especially if you have to relocate, it makes it so difficult. In fact, they told us yesterday that they had to kind of rearrange one of the controls. I think it was control 6, because they thought it's a bit too much of bingo if you miss it and you can't relocate. So they really put it on a spur there in order to make it a bit more doable. Here we get a glimpse, at least. You can see the forest very open, but you have stones everywhere. And as I mentioned before, relocating in this area is not the most convenient thing to do. There is a second, a bit longer leg. It's basically to come from one side of the hill to the other one. It's not so decisive which of the routes you take here. You have to execute it well. As usual in the middle distance, you can see the difference in both climbing and also when it comes to distance. They're very, very small. This one, interesting. I don't think anyone wants to really go through the green parallel to the slope. So in my opinion, it's clearly the best option to drop down and attack the control from below. Both the control, to approach the control is easier, and as well you can run quicker without having to read every single detail. Second glimpse from the terrain, you can see a bit of blueberries here. It's quite nice when you're out in the forest, and then you have to navigate here in areas like this with the yellow open bits and the green areas. You can see it's not so easy to see those yellow areas. When you're in them and you look up, you see, okay, there's no trees covering anything of my view, but from distance they're not so easy to see. So it's not like a meadow or anything in the forest. Green areas, on the other hand, I think they're you can really spot them, even the small ones, because often it's a different height of vegetation. So use the green areas in order to do the navigation. This was a very typical leg for a middle distance race like this in Czechia.
Yeah, we've already had some of the men begin their competitions, and this start list is kind of done by world ranking, kind of in groups of world rankings, which are randomised than that. So we'll look towards the end for our favourites. But anybody, Jonas, you want to pick out, maybe from our early starters, and then talk about our favourites?
Well, from the early starters, I would pick out Mathieu Bührer. He had a good performance yesterday. He started very, very good, and I would say you can see him there at start number 38. I would say he's even stronger in middle distances. This kind of terrain, every Swiss athlete likes this. And as a junior, I think with a very high potential, he can perform well. When we go to the favorite for the victory, I would say, of course, we have to talk about Kasper Fosse. We have to talk about the European and the world champion in one person, Erik Langedal Breivik. Victor Svensk, very strong the day before yesterday. I would like to highlight Anton Johansson. Maybe didn't have the best day on the long distance, but he's much stronger in middle distances. Really one of the runners who focuses only on forest orienteering. He can perform very good. And then, of course, I have to pick one of the runners from Czechia, and I would pick Tomáš Krivta then as a strong runner. And I think he can perform good in a race like this.
Yeah, definitely the Czechs are going to have some home advantage, and maybe the Swiss as well, as Uli Veron is going to come in here towards the finish to take a big new lead here to cut close to 35 minutes. Lokmelis of Latvia is the current leader. Veron looks like he's going to be clearly the fastest here, and he had a really good, a really fast time on that, basically the trickiest control, the fifth one, didn't he?
Yeah, just made a replay of his course, and actually I can't spot any mistake, really. Very well executed course. As I mentioned before, it's very similar to parts. You can find terrains like this in Switzerland, maybe not as stony as this one, but he executed it well. At this control 4 to 5, he stayed in the slope, so he put a bit of risk in it, but he executed it very well, and still he's the quickest one. Oh, not anymore, actually. But he has a very good time there. So executed this one very good. So let's see, 35 minutes, I think.
Yes, 35 minutes expected winning time 32. Let's have a little look at the start then with Daniel van Das heading out, follow all the kind of tapes and the advertising signs to actually get to the start point, and then the navigation begins. You start dropping down the hill. This is Adam Jonas. This is coming to split control number 1. So we'll see him probably get control 9 first and then 10. And you could kind of see on the preview how many of the controls are just hidden behind different features. And obviously, as he's going to descend into here, you've got a bit of help of the open to guide you into that control. But there's so many controls that you're going to descend and it's hidden the other side.
And you're talking about the open area, but you can see when you approach the control, it's not so easy to see that open yellow area because it looks like the color on the floor, on the ground is the same. So there's no grass growing up. Usually you can see on vegetation when there's the yellow bit coming in the terrain, but here it really stays. You have to look up to the sky in order to see, okay, there are no trees covering the view, and then you can spot those yellow bits.
Yeah, you could kind of just about see it was a bit lighter when we were in there, but yeah, everything looks very similar. So this is going to be really key now for us to see what the athletes are going to do when they leave this control. So this is the 10th control. This is where we get the time check, and it's going to be a real test of whether they leave this control and kind of contour round, or leave this control and drop down towards the semi-open areas over there, because 10 is really, really crucial. Let's compare then some of the first kind of GPS trackers, and we'll bring in some of the fastest runners so far. Look at Daniel Bolachowski from Czechia there. He's approached that 5th control from above, looks very quick. In fact, everybody in all the different route choices there executed that one very well.
Yeah, the advantage is when you come from above, there is a boulder which is quite big just to the southeast of the control. He didn't use that as an attack point now, but you can use that, and it's 8 meters high, so it's very good visible when you come from above. Interesting here, 10:11 so far, quickest time executed by the route. When you go drop down to 11, so you drop down to the path and then you approach from below, and I mean it's 20 seconds quicker and it's a lot less risk. So I really think you have to drop down there and execute it like this.
Yeah, so Bolachowski, who's in the lead at split number 1, so that's control 10, is just, as you can see, is at this moment going straight to control number 11. And the course testers were kind of saying they think the athletes will be tempted possibly to go straight because there are little bits of white that you can pick up, but they said the white is so stony, it's basically as slow as the middle green. So it's really, really tricky. And yeah, so definitely a good option to drop down. We'll see how many of the best and the fastest athletes are actually able to do that. So on the way to then control number 10, Bolachowski, as we said, was in the lead at that point, and there's a couple of athletes here. We've got Jakob Steinthal and we've got Sebastian Inderst, so Denmark and Italy here, going around to get to this control 10, and just beyond it is a bit of green. It should be fairly easy for these athletes to see. It's a nice short control. And which way do they go? So they're both just kind of checking. They can tell that this is going to be a tricky one, and Steinthal is going to drop down.
Stays in the slope. Yeah, a bit for me. It's a bit unexpected that Inderst decides to stay in the slope. I mean, he grew up in Switzerland. Usually the Swiss eager to use every meter of the path you can get.
Are you still coaching him?
No, not anymore. That's probably why he stays in the slope now. I was about to say maybe he's been living in Scandinavia for too long. But maybe he drops down a bit later as well. It's hard to say just from the first couple of meters.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to keep an eye on that GPS to see what happens. I think it looks like he's going to go straight. Steinthal definitely dropping down. So Sigurd Possenvia next to go for Norway. Of course, picking up the map and following the tapes. There's a little distance, nice, easy runability to head to the start control. Let's have a look here. And normally when we isolate one athlete, it's not for a good reason. This is
You can see
Harkavy
that
from USA.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the risk. When you drop down, I mean, you can see that you have to go around the green area just at the bottom of the picture. And then from there, you're actually not allowed to drop anymore. You have to climb 5 more meters from this point. And I think the risk is when you approach this control in the slope that you unattended just drop a little bit, and a little bit more. And then, yeah, you're too low, and how to relocate in that area, it's very, very difficult. So that's the danger by approaching this control running parallel to the slope.
Yeah, it's totally possible to be able to stick on the one height, but it's not often a skill, like especially in Scandinavia, that you need. I mean, there's definitely areas at home for me that you absolutely need to be able to contour around a slope, but it's not always one that everybody is practicing all the time.
Yeah, especially without any clear attack point just before. I mean, usually you intentionally drop 5 meters or you climb 5 meters in order to catch an attack point and then attack from there. Here, because the only attack points you can get are stones in a very stony area, and there are no bigger stones just around. So I think it is a difficult thing to get a clear attack point to this control, which makes it a bit more difficult.
Yep, Jakub Szelupski next to start from Czechia, the Jaywalk long distance champ back in 2023. That was in Romania, just outside the top 10 in the long. And of course, we know the Czechs will have a bit of a home advantage. Here's Alvaro Casado from Spain into the finish. Has had some great success as a sprinter and coming in here to be in 4th position then right at the finish here. Looking strong for him. I've just been putting in the World Cup fixtures for next year into my calendar. We're going to be heading to Spain for the World Cup final. Very close to Barcelona. This is Daniel Bolchowski then. We saw he was in the lead at control number 10 and he went straight to control number 11. Will that have cost him any time? Because we're going to chase him through here towards the 16th control.
Choice analysis. Choice analysis shows that he lost about 20 seconds. So it's about the thing that we could observe from the runner so far, that it's about 20 seconds quicker to drop down to the path.
But he is still in the lead here. The Czech athlete, 26 seconds faster than Veren, who's still the leader at the finish. And if just a few controls to go now, quite short controls in amongst the different types of vegetation and the rocks as well, before climbing back up towards the arena. Let's get the analysis then. At this point, Bolchowski was quite significantly ahead.
Yeah, you could see again, 7 to 8. Veren was very good in staying in the slope, not doing any extra meters. You can see that he, compared to the others, dropped down, and he could overtake Lynch between 10 and 11. Maybe not the best execution there between 14 and 15. Got a bit away from the red line, but still, I mean, no real big mistake there. I would say he lost about 5 seconds on this one.
So this is Arni Ronkanen just descending here to the 9th control. The next control is the 10th. That's where we will get the split. It's really gives you a sense of how relentless all the controls are. You know, in this section you've got control and then another one, and you really have to be kind of on top of your navigation, staying in the moment and keeping your accuracy when you have all these changes of direction as well. But this looks really, really well executed from the Finn here.
And well done here, only 11 seconds behind. So now if he will drop down, it looks like he stays in the slope together with Gerwe.
Yeah, different route choices there. I don't know if we can spot Ronkanen further up. Back to the start then, Linus Egevid Christiansen heading out. of the start. Obviously big orienteering family with Ida and Marlin also running. Doing very well in the Sprint World Cup so far this season. Let's see whether Finn's done well. Really good start.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising. I mean, Veren drops behind quite much on the first minute of running. I would say he loses about 20 seconds, so just 1 minute of running. From there, he does a very good job here. Look at this here, from 7 to 8. He stays low there as well, doesn't do the extra climb, but I think it's good executed. Slightly different approaches then, 8 to 9, and then he drops down. Still not sure if Ronkainen is going down or if he staying in the slope.
No, it's hard to say. He's doing something in the middle, isn't he, really? And
I think he drops down, but he cuts the green.
Okay, Martin Rudny next to come to control number 10, dropping down to number 9 first of all. You can see there he's in some kind of open section. We're kind of on the edge of some open section where the camera position is, but as Jonas was describing before, it's hard to see any difference on the ground, and sometimes that's where you're looking. There'll be more vegetation growing up where the sun can reach the bottom of the open area, but in this particular section, that is not the case. It's not just the rocks they've got to contend with, it's all these fallen trees in different parts of the map as well. And Rudny still within a minute here, and he looks like he knows exactly where he's going next. He's already made that decision. I was going to say to go down, but then maybe he's not. Climbing through the rocks there. And I think this is kind of what you were maybe talking about earlier, is you can really see in the distance there the different types of vegetation with the trees being at different heights. It's quite clear where you have the boundaries between different types of vegetation, and you really can use them in the navigation. This is Jakob Steinthal, who's on his way to 16 and looks a little bit stuck here.
If you remember, he was together with Sebastian Inderst. Sebastian Inderst then stayed in the slope, so he dropped about 20 seconds behind. So he's not far away, but there's a bit of hesitation going on here. So there we have Inderst again, now first to control 15. At the same time, I can tell you that we had Howard 8's move, very quick between control 4 and 5. He was now staying up, so he didn't go down in the slope, the quickest one on that leg, but then he missed control 8 by quite a lot, so he does a mistake there. I think he will be a bit behind, but what we can say is if you stay up there from control 4 to 5, it's a good option if you execute it well.
So Steinthal basically just slightly overshot the previous control. He would only have been a few meters away from it and then had to turn back, as so many of these controls have obviously hidden the other side of the feature, and that basically has allowed Inderst to pretty much catch up. You can see the Italian on the right-hand side there, and the two of them together. So Steinthal has lost that 20 seconds advantage that he gained from doing the really good route choice to 11. And he's back together with Inderst and back into 6th position at the moment. Got a couple more finishers coming into the arena. Daniel Bolachowski, let's see if he is good enough to take over the new leading time here. It looks good for the Czech athlete, but it's not been all plain sailing. Remember, he went straight to control number 11, lost about 20 seconds on the route choice there. But he will be the next leader at the finish. Sprinting in here, and we'll get under the 35-minute mark, I think. Great work there as a kind of a whole new generation of Czech runners are coming through after some really good junior success over the last few years. They hosted Junior World Championships 2 years ago, and have managed to bring a great pool of juniors kind of starting to come through into the senior ranks now. And new leading time then for Daniel Bolachowski. It's a classic orienteering thing, straight back into looking at your map. This is what you were mentioning then, Jonas, about Aidsmo.
Yeah, he had a good, you can see it how he approached control 5. I guess he saw the boulder there, so no problem there. But you can see he's a bit too high. He's not far away from the control, but how to relocate in this area, that's exactly the problem. So you have to be very precise approaching the controls when you come from above. You have to have a clear attack point. If you miss it and you do a small parallel mistake, yeah, you do a minute of mistake at least, I would say, or then you're a bit lucky and just spot the control.
Yeah, everything looks the same. Let's see Henrik Johannesson from Sweden dropping down into this 9th control. And this is looking good for a new leading time, I think, here. I think there's less than a minute between this and the next control. A very good start from the Swede.
And actually, I don't know if it's really true here, but on the splits, we have all this Upitis as well, who is a bit quicker, but we don't have him in the graphics here, so I don't really know about his race. Maybe we'll get to know it at the next TV control, but I would say if he was in the lead there, he's not anymore because he's not executing the controls in between 10 and 16 so well at the moment.
But Johannesson into a new leading time, 37 seconds quicker than our new leader at the finish, Daniel Bolachowski. And dropping down as well out of this control. There are so few kind of controls on this course with a very obvious kind of route choice that I think it's quite easy to identify that this is one of the route choice legs. Oh, Aidsmo.
You can see that.
Oh,
he knows
this is
that
like
he's
exactly
close to
the same
control.
mistake again. Yeah.
Yeah, because he sees all the adverts, but he doesn't see the control.
This is
It's a very
like why
classic thing to do.
precision matters so much.
Yeah, especially in an area. I mean, usually you don't have so many objects within the circle, but here you see the adverts, you run towards them because you know the control is somewhere just around. But then, of course, it's hard to spot the right objects. Here we have all these Upitis to the second split. As I said, I think he was actually in the lead. He was about a minute quicker than Bolachowski. At the first TV control, he was even quicker than Johannesson, but he lost more than 3 minutes between 10 and 15, just by hesitating a lot.
He's kind of run out of gas there. You can see he was, there's maybe been some mistakes. He was being so careful, kind of looking at his control description on the way into that control. So this is the same position. This is Arni Ronkanen. Also coming towards control number 16 very soon. And this is a better job here from the Finn. He's had lots of, the last 4 controls are all downhill. And slight bit of uphill here to this one on the boulder right next to the marsh. And he can drop back down the slope quite quickly to the 17th control, which is in the middle of some green. Let's hear, though, from the new current leader, chatting to Erling.
Leader Daniel Bolachowski of Czechia. How satisfied are you with your race today, Daniel? Yeah, I'm satisfied. I think I left everything I could in the forest, and there were many small mistakes I didn't analyze yet. I see 3 or 4 20 seconds mistakes, but I think that today the controls are hidden and everyone will do something, so I try to focus for future and not worry about those small mistakes. Physically, I expected that it will be more easier because the climbing was little, but it was so tough because there was green all the time and it was hard to push through all this surface So.
And your strategy was that to go straight through the greens or go around if you could? What did you think of that?
Oh, I didn't have an exact plan. I always took what was fast, what I thought that it would be faster. So I didn't have a straight tactic.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you too.
Our first thoughts from one of the athletes actually being out in the terrain there. Anything kind of strike you about what he was saying? Anything that you think we should pick up on?
I'm a bit surprised that he thinks it's so hard to push, because when we see the pictures from the forest, it always looks very, very nice. But of course, we see the nice bits as well. Of course, we put the camera not in the most green part, so that was a bit surprising to me. Here we have Mathieu Bührer, I think, together with Vandas, but it should be Bührer who is quicker.
Yeah, Bührer has caught up Vandas by 2 minutes here. Or nearly,
yeah. Almost caught up.
Where is he coming through? There he is.
Yeah, he is. And he was at the pre-warning. He was about 57 seconds behind. Now it's only 32. He executed especially 6 and 7 very, very good. So 8 was quite good.
Yeah, he's the junior world champion from both the long and the sprint in Sweden this year. As we look back to Martin Rudny coming through to control number 16. He's looking around a lot here. Maybe looking at his direction of exit, where he drops back down the slope again. Okay, let's head back to the start. French Jonas heading over next, picking up his map, heading out of the start. His best World Cup was 13th.
So this is a replay of Jakub Galupski. You can see the struggles he has at control 6. And, well, if you have followed from the very beginning, we said that they actually moved this control a little bit from the original version. It's exactly because of situations like this. If you miss the control, now it's on the top of a spur. It's still possible to find it, because you either have to drop down on the spur or to climb up there. So relocation is actually possible from this point. If you had the control like they had originally a couple of meters behind, they said it would take everyone a couple of minutes to relocate, and then they didn't want to have this situation. Just to give you a feeling about how difficult it is to actually be relocating in areas like this. Here we have now Johannesson. I told you he was about a minute ahead of Bührer at the pre-warning. You can see that Bührer in this section got very much closer, did a small mistake then to control 10. Now he stays. Does he stay in the slope now? Bührer never really went down. I think he will lose time there as well.
Yeah, it's looking better and better for Johannesson there. He just had the highest speed around those first full controls, then was just ahead, made absolutely no mistakes, and is now looking really good on that route choice as well. So yeah, really impressive for him. Akseli Rohola, a fantastic sprinter. Let's see what he can do in the forest today. The Finn heading out into the forest next. He just about made it inside the top 20 in the long distance. And of course, we spoke a lot a couple of days ago about the transition from those with a big sprint focus transitioning into the forest. And obviously, for the long distance, that being just the amount of time that you're out on the map, that you're out competing. When it comes to this middle distance, it's all really about technique. And we could hear that clearly. I think the Swiss team had clearly spoken in their team meetings about making sure that the technicality was the main focus, and the speed will come. Don't worry too much about the speed, just focus on doing the navigation right. And obviously that paid off for quite a few members of the Swiss team. Uldis then, as we mentioned, he had a fantastic start to the race by control 10, and then a lot of struggles since then. So there we go, into 14th position for the Latvian. Let's go back into the forest then. This is Henrik Johannesson, who we saw in the lead at control number 10. Here he is at control number 16. Is it still good? Yes, still in the lead by probably about the same amount, possibly.
Actually, I think in my opinion, he executed all the controls rather good here. Between 10 11, had the right route choice on this route there, so he dropped down to the path, and then no visible mistake, clearly visible mistake on the smaller controls. So looks still very good for Henrik Johannesson.
Yeah, Ronkanen in the end fourth at the moment, with Bolachowski still our leader. And this is Chalupsky. Of course, we saw that big mistake at control number 6 for him. He's doing well, though, to be only a minute down.
Yeah, very good. I mean, the big mistake, I think it was about a minute mistake. In the end, it could have been much worse. He was quite quick in noticing that he is too far down, or first he corrected down and then he went up again. But the minute mistake, now about a minute behind as well. Has a couple of controls left on the course, so still time for him. Interesting as well that most of the runners here, they go out to the street between 17 and 18. Maybe this is kind of a proof of what we heard from Bolachowski, that it is very tough out there. Takes a lot of energy to be pushing all the way through the green area, so you are quite happy when you actually get the chance to spend a couple of meters on the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought that the course setters thought that a lot of the men there would go straight, but proving them wrong. So Daniel Bolachowski under 35 minutes so far. But we've got Johannesson coming to the finish very shortly. Luca Basset next to start. The Frenchman didn't run the long distance. Let's see what he's able to do here on this middle distance, not part of the Sprint World Championships either.
And I can also inform you about that Axel Elmblad retired from the course. He's on the way back. We heard that he has struggles with his health, so maybe an injury, but I mean, he's still on the way back through the forest on his own, so I think it can't be that bad, but he retired after control 6 or 7.
Tino Polsini next to start then for Switzerland. Fantastic sprinter to sprint knockout wins in the World Cup. Martin Rudny, though, on his way in towards the finish. Of course, we'll do a lot of focus on the Czech athletes. Bolachowski from Czechia, our current leader. And Rudny is going to be trying to be about a couple of minutes down on his teammates' time. Lots of Czech flags, as you can see, with the spectators doing their own races alongside this competition. And coming all the way to the line here for 7th position so far. 37 minutes for Rudny. Interestingly, Henrik Johannesson is one of the few not going on the road to number 18. He's approaching the finish very soon. Jürgen Jonas from Estonia next through. That's control number 10. He's all alone in the forest. Not got anybody he's running alongside. And it's so interesting to note how, how much the athletes are actually stopping at that control to really make the decision there. I think, people who do orienteering will assume that the elite athletes don't stop at all. But of course, yeah, they do. And they know that it's important sometimes to invest those couple of seconds in stopping and making the right decision rather than making the wrong decision and then, paying for it with a 20-second time deficit.
I mean, especially here on the course where you don't have many route choices, you think that, okay, you have one or two, I really have to get them right. If we have Mathieu Bure, we can see that he dropped behind now didn't get the punch there, about 45 seconds maybe. He was 32 seconds behind at the TV control, then he stayed in the slope between 10 and 11. That's why he is now about 15 to 20 seconds further behind, as everyone who stayed in the slope there. But still doing a rather good job. He struggled a bit at the first controls with small mistakes, not big ones, a couple of seconds to the first, and I think to the third or fourth control as well. But since then, actually, this does a good job and still within a minute compared to Henrik Johannesson.
Quentin Moulet next to start from France. He was fourth in the long distance, his best ever World Cup result. I think when he spoke to him afterwards and he was asked about how well he think he'd do, like, oh yeah, maybe like top 10, would be nice, and ended up just outside of the medal positions. Really, really great result from the Frenchman. Let's see if he can back it up then with a good race on this middle distance. He's really kind of attacking that route out of the start. Looks like he is putting his foot on the gas there. Now, Jonas, what do you like? We've had a few minutes now of really getting the chance to see what it's like for these athletes going through the terrain here. What do you think are the most decisive parts of this course, and when it comes to the as well?
I think the most decisive part must be from 5 to 8. I would say it's really where we have like either they are within a minute or then they're kind of out of the competition already. Then the second part, then we have a clearly like a difference how you execute 10 to 11. There we know that if you don't drop down, you lose 20 seconds. After that, it's actually interesting because quite many of the runners, they struggle a bit, not really, not big struggles, but you can see that they hesitate at 12, 13, 14, which is kind of an indicator for that it is quite green there and visibility is low.
That was a mistake from Van Das that you just saw. They kind of came out and hit the path and completely shot the control, had to go back in again, and Henrik Johannesson is not going to be able to take the new lead here. I think I saw him having some struggles into 17 years, so I don't know if you wanted to check that out. It looked like he was just rundling around in the green there trying to get to 17, and I wondered whether he was going to be able to take over the new time. He was ahead for so much of the course, going through the two split times that we had, and now into second place.
Yeah, you're right. He struggled a bit with 17. It was a bit too early into the green. I think he didn't execute 19 perfectly. He seemed to spend a lot of time in the stones there. So maybe he kind of ran out of gas there as well towards the end. But still, it's a bit of pity because I would have said it was a great run until the second TV control. Now I think, there's still quite a lot of room to improve this one. He must have lost about 1.5 minutes in the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. Jakub Szelupski coming up to the 16th control. That's where we just saw Van Das after his mistake at the previous control 15. And Szelupski is going to go there into third place. So we know he had about a minute's mistake at control 6. But with mistakes from Johannesson later on the next control, Szelupski will have a better job of getting into a good position. Let's see where it all went wrong for Van Das then. Oh, goodness me. He's just getting the wrong direction, I think, there to control 14. And then look at this one because he's going to make another mistake. He was absolutely on the line. You can see he hesitates on the edge of this green, doesn't quite know where he is, and then goes past the control.
It's very typical for this area. It's what I described just a couple of minutes ago, that you have, there are many runners struggle, especially 13, 14, 15 in this green, where you have to use the green areas for navigation, and you can lose, I mean, usually they don't lose minutes here, but you can lose half a minute very, very quickly just by hesitating. And interesting, actually, we haven't really seen anyone getting through with a really, really good run. Very soon we're going to have Mathieu Bühler to the finish. He's in the lead now at the pre-warning, which shows us, I mean, we have seen a couple of mistakes by him. I mean, he has a good run. He's still a junior, and that's a great performance. But he could have been a minute or more quicker, and without any bigger problems. I think he could easily avoid those mistakes, and it proves that there's still room to improve here on this course.
Yeah, here's Thomas Krivda, the best of the Czechs on paper, certainly one of the ones with the most experience heading out into the terrain. This is, as you mentioning, Mathieu Bühler coming in towards the finish here. And there we go. He is going to go into the new lead here. The Swiss junior world champion coming in to take over a new leading time.
And I mean, look at the time. He has 34 minutes now. The expected winning time is 32. He's easily a minute of mistake here on the course, just to give you a picture about what great speed he already has at 20 years of age. This is a very, very big promise for Swiss orienteering, and they really need that in the men's team, especially in the forest discipline. The moment it feels like they have more in the sprint side, their strength. But let's see here. This is where Bühler could turn the race around. The mistake at control 17. Then he was very quick here to 19. I think it's a good idea. Here you can see that he avoided the biggest rocks and cracks there. And he was quite much faster to control 19, which I think was a good approach to get to this control, to avoid the rocky bits.
I also think he took a different route choice to 17, and I think we should take another look at that when we next see the GPS. I think he goes a little bit more straight to 17 and spends less time in the green. So that's really where he overtakes the others, is at the 17th control. Rita Ecker here into 4th place. And he's caught up Julien Vuitton from France. And it looks like he's going to go straight to this control. It's such a giveaway with the direction that they leave this 10th control, staying high, kind of climbing up between the rocks, suggests you're going to go straight to the 11th. Otherwise, you can kind of drop down, go past those advertising boards, and it shows you're going to drop all the way down to the bottom. Simon Imark is next to go for Sweden.
And actually quite an interesting name, because technically he's a great orienteer. Had a bad day at the qualification, missed out on it, but then could qualify by being in the top 10 in the long distance in the B final. He's very good when it comes to difficult technical terrain. He's one of the runners I could imagine to perform very good in the stony areas. But let's see. I mean, it's a bit different to what we when we usually see him. It's in Scandinavian terrain. This is continental terrain. So, but still, I think he could be one of the runners that could handle this kind of terrain very well.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. And this is a mistake here from Jürgen Nunes. He kind of didn't have a great direction into 15 either, and now he's too high in the slope. I mean, the kind of compass work here where everything kind of looks the same, and you can't rely on the features because they all look the same. You've really got to be spot on your compass here.
But actually in this control here, you can see that very open area just in the upper left corner. That's a yellow part on the map, and it's very good visible here in the terrain. So I think at this point, actually, it should be rather easy to relocate. But of course, he loses about 45 seconds.
Right, let's hear from our new leader then. Erling is at the finish line with a whole load of questions.
Of Switzerland, but your commentators were quite impressed with your speed towards the finish. But take us through your race. What was your experience?
I had a pretty bad start. Was a bit stressed for the first control, hesitated in the control room, and I think this gave me an adrenaline push and give me a mental boost to really concentrate myself on the technical part. And as soon as I can just run, then I give everything, and it went pretty well. Little mistakes afterwards to the 13th control, maybe 20 seconds. For me it's a small mistakes, maybe for the top world's runner it's big mistakes, but I'm really satisfied.
And your strategy in avoiding the greens or avoiding the rocks or going straight through those areas, what was that today?
I had some route choice. I was pretty I didn't know what to do, and I decided to avoid it a bit, but not too much, because if I can get a good line through the green, then it can be really fast. And the rocks, if there's a rock field in the white, I go through, and if it's in the green, I try to avoid it.
And so now in the lead, what do you hope for?
Yeah, I don't know. Middle distance is really really tough. Yesterday I looked at the start list, and there were so many names that looked so strong, especially middle distance. Technically, I'm maybe a bit behind them, but I hope I could compensate with my physique abilities.
Congratulations on a great race today, Mathieu.
Thank you very much.
Well, he's going to be a name for the future, isn't he?
It's quite a good thing when you can say as a junior, I hope to be able to compensate my technical things with my physicality compared to the others. I mean, that's really the part where you should be behind.
Yeah, it's kind of mad that he backs his physicality so well. But yeah, you can see that route to 11, he kind of went through the green, definitely will have lost a bit of time there in a few bits. It was interesting as well that he said that he wanted to, he kind of struggled a bit to number one. He made a hesitation, and then after that was really able to kind of lock in. I think he kind of said it made him kind of switch his brain into, no, I really need to be careful. I really need to do navigation, really good navigation here, because as lots of orienteers know, you can mess up control number one and then that's it for the rest of your course. You can't get that focus back, and clearly he was able to do that.
But it's a bit untypical, because usually it's his first middle distance on elite level or senior level, and my guess would have been that he's really, really focused in the beginning, and then might be kind of dropping a bit in his focus towards the end or something. But here it was really the other way around. He lost time in the beginning, but then he got better and better towards the end. So yeah, but as he said, I mean, he has to be very satisfied with his race. He's now in the lead. Right now, it doesn't look like we have so many runners out there that could be a threat within the next minutes. And I mean, there are not that many runners to come. I'm quite sure that he will be somewhere in the top 15 today as well. And I mean, that's a very good result for the first middle distance on senior level. Here you can see that he hesitated a bit to the first control. Then the fourth control was a bit low as well. Then well executed here to 5. You can see Ruohola a bit too low. Then very good here to control 6 and 7. Climbed a bit to 8, drop then down again. Unfortunately for him, he then shows he was not perfect into 10, and then he went. I think this is when I don't think he noticed yet when he gave the interview that he lost time there, because I think that's where he said that he tried to not avoid it too much, and he uses the rocky white bits because he thinks they don't slow him down too much, but he should have gone all the way down because he lost 20 seconds there.
Yeah, he'll get that in the analysis, of course, when he kind of looks back closer. We'll chat to all of the coaches and figure out, what was the right option, of course, there. But yeah, I mean, looking at the people out on the course there now, there's obviously Ruohola who's going to be challenging that time with Mathieu Bure. Topi Sirilainen's had a good start as well. Basset, not too bad. So, he's certainly done a really good job. And actually, here is Luca Basset from France. In here to this 10th control, and obviously he is not too far behind that time of Ruohola. And yeah, looks
And-
very decisive in his route choice there. I like the physicality of him really jumping over those fallen trees. You can tell he's got some good energy today.
Yeah, and especially you could see that he was well prepared. There was not a single second of hesitation at the control. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, how he wanted to execute the next control. So that is it looked very good for Luca Bassi, but I'm not that surprised. He has been winning medals in the middle distance. Well, even if it's 11 years ago, but he has been strong in this discipline throughout all his career, basically.
Yeah, and that experience really, really pays off in orienteering. Rita Eka is continuing a really good run here alongside Julien Vuitton, and still looks nice and kind of springy through this forest. No hesitation there whatsoever, going out very straight towards the next control. Let's just have a little look then at Eka and his route. He went through. And that's where Shalupski just kind of gets back in touch with that whole group. Bura, mistake there to 13. He said about 20 seconds. Yeah, and looking at maybe some of the split times or something.
Or playing some games on the mobile just to get the time pass.
Or, maybe taking messages from all his admirers, I'm sure. Family and friends. Here's Ollie Oyanaho. Didn't actually run the long distance with knee injury. And he's got such a great collection of results from kind of 3-4 years ago, 2022 and 2023. And then I remember had a really big injury in one of the Finnish relay leagues and kind of has struggled to recover since then. See how he goes. This is Polsini. And that's the ninth control,
start.
Just hidden behind that.
It's quite a good start for Polsini. He wasn't satisfied at all with his long distance. But I mean, given the fact that he is, we point him out as a clear sprinter, and there's just a couple of weeks he had now to switch back into the forest, I think that's a decent start here for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be within a minute of Johannesson. And the more I see people cutting through from 10 to 11, every single person that cuts through to that control, that's another person bashing through some of those trees, making a bit of a track. Like, it is going to get more favourable towards the later runners. But I still think everybody there is losing time going straight to control number 11. Mathieu Perrin from France was second in his qualification heat. So lots of potential here for this athlete. You can see he already looks kind of up into the forest, folding his map up, and I love to see when you've got some great visibility, you can really look ahead and spot things to kind of make the navigation a lot easier. Very visual style of navigation. It's very useful. But yeah, it's tricky. I mean, one thing that I think maybe Bolachowski mentioned was just how many controls are, of course, really well hidden behind all the features. Of course, that's exactly what the course setters, the planners are going to want to do, is make sure you have to completely get to the feature before you actually see the control. They don't want you seeing it from a few hundred meters back. That makes everything very, very easy for those elite orienteers if you do that.
So you see a couple of pictures from above, from the terrain, and the leader in the finish. Can give you a short heads up. Very soon we're going to have Topi Syrjäläinen to the first TV control. He had a good pre-warning. Then just, is it the 2 minutes behind? Yeah, we had Thomas Krifta. Even he had a good start into the race. So interesting minutes ahead of us. Here we have Topi Syrjäläinen.
Yeah, look at that long stride, absolutely bounding through the forest here. Just got to make sure he gets a good enough line. You can see the edge of the open. He's absolutely into that control. actually jumping down off the boulder. That shows you how direct he's gone into that control. But yeah, from the early pre-warnings, he's looked very, very quick, and you can see he's just making light work of this terrain here.
You can see as well that just behind him, it was Contamule.
Yeah, and that going to give him a really big boost. I mean, Contamule 4th in the long distance. Topi Syrjalainen had a great result as well with 8th. That equals his best ever World Cup result. And Syrjalainen will definitely be happy to be seeing Moulet out on the course after only 10 controls as well. This is why Moulet is being caught.
It's a mistake to 7, I think. Misses the control. It's quite a big mistake. You can see the tail is actually 2 minutes, so he lost 2 minutes to this control. That's exactly the disadvantage he has now to Topi Syrjalainen. It's not a big surprise, though, is it? I mean, Mule, he himself said 2 days ago that the long distance is his best or his favorite discipline, his strongest discipline. Maybe not so strong yet in the middle distance, and I would have said, like, intuitively that Syrjalainen probably is a bit stronger on the middle distance.
Here's Akseli Ruhala into control 16, and it's going to be a new leading time here, or equal time with Johannesson. But look to see him take a new lead, possibly at the finish, if he gets these next controls right. Here's Thomas Krivda, and you said he'd had a fantastic start.
Yeah, he had a very good start, and you can see he's already at the TV control, so he's another 35 seconds quicker compared to Syrjalainen. There was actually no mistake I could spot so far. Very well executed all the legs, and I mean he really plays this advantage of running on home soil here. You can see that he feels like a fish in water.
So Rito Edgar coming towards the finish. You can see at control 16, he was in the top 3 and ahead of Bura, but Bura was just fantastic at the end of the race, so really backing his physicality. So it's not going to be quite a new leading time for Rito Edgar, but there we go, into second place, just 11 seconds down on his teammate, 34.16, and 2 Swiss in the lead at the moment. Let's get some comparisons then. Let's look at Krivda's mark and see how he's got so quick here.
I can see that he is very, very straight to control 5, really not giving away any extra meters. Well executed then as well, 6, and control 7, no problems at 8. And a rather straight line then as well, 2, 9. You can see, I mean, here the difference between Krivda and Bührer is more than 1.5 minutes already.
And noticing Ruhala making some interesting kind of route choices, maybe a few errors there. He's clearly running fast, but not getting all the right routes. Here's Luca Basse still in the mix and amongst the leaders here at the 16th control. And how he compared then to, you know, Mathieu Bura had such a great last part of the course. Basse really has to keep it together for this next section as well. He's in 3rd.
And Basse actually had some hesitation at control 14, not 100% well executed. I mean, that's not a problem itself, but might give him a bit of a kind of reminder that he has to be very careful, and shows that he is not a super good flow. This is Simon Imark, not best direction into it. I think he was looking a bit for this yellow spot and couldn't really see it.
Yeah, you could see him on the, he kind of came to this close edge, the right-hand edge, the southern edge of that yellow bit, and then changed direction to get into the control itself. It wasn't too far off his line.
No, and it's still a good start here within, I would say, 50 seconds compared to Krivda, and into 3rd position. But then he's going to lose 20 seconds to control 11 as well. So does Krivda, because they stayed in the slope. And here at the start, we have Fabian Abersold.
Yeah, clearly kind of, I think, trying to tell himself something on this start line, giving himself some instructions. And yeah, he, of course, the bronze medal from the long distance. What do you think about the middle distance for him?
I mean, he definitely has the physicality to do a good middle distance. He has a good speed. He has also the technique to do it. So far in his career, I think the long distance played better into his into his profile, because he gets in the long distance, he gets a bit of time to recover if he does a small mistake. But sooner or later, he will perform very good as well in middle distances, especially in continental terrain. I'm quite sure about that.
This is Polsini then into the 16th control. And for a sprinter, he's still stacking up really well compared to the athletes around him, I think.
It's a very good race so far. I don't really know how much he thinks of himself as a sprinter, but of course, I mean, all his best results are from the sprint, so it's maybe fair to say so.
Is that like saying Ralph Street is a sprinter?
Yeah, Ralph Street is a sprinter.
So yeah, Polsini really nice and direct there to the 12th control. A little bit off the line to the 15th, but so was Urhala. Okay, next athlete to split control 1. So on his way to the 10th control, this is Aro Aho, who had a really great run in the long distance, was in 12th place. And now just kind of crashing through all of these fallen trees here, and he's more than a minute down at the moment.
Interesting. At the pre-morning, we had actually Ruohola very soon towards the last control. Also, he lost time compared to Bure, still about 6 seconds ahead of him. So it's going to be very tight between Ruohola and Bure on the last meters of this course.
But let's take the long distance winner at the start then. Victor Svensson looking ahead to the start clock, pulling out his map and getting his campaign underway. And I mean, he's really got to be one of the big favourites of this race, obviously winning the long distance, but doing so well at O-Ringen last week. He won O-Ringen overall. We'll keep a close eye on him. This is Ruohola, and as you mentioned, there was a 6-second advantage over Bure at the pre-warning. So will it be enough for him to take a new leading time here? The Finn, he's got about 10 seconds to go to see if he can make it across the line. And we know Bure had such a fast finish, and he's kind of looked up at the big screen, knows he really needs to push. Is it going to be equal? 1 second slower. Ruohola into second, and I think he'll be pretty gutted with that, just to lose out by just the second when he was a later runner as well. But there we go, into second, and a good effort for him there. It looked like he made like a few mistakes around that course as well, so it was quite impressive for him to hold it together to still be in second place.
I think actually he lost it to the second to last control. Maybe we can see it here again, the mistake, about 20 seconds as Mathieu Bure said, but Bure was so strong here from 15 to the finish all the way. Look at Ruohola, still ahead at 19, and I think he's a bit too high to 20. That's where he really opens up again. I mean, he's not too very far away from the control, but Bure was so distinct at this control. So very, very strong finish by Mathieu Bure.
This is Erik Langendahl Breivik, the world and European middle distance champion. He really has made this one of his specialism, and let's see if he's going to do the same on very different type of terrain here compared to Finland, where he won his world title, Hungary, where he won his European title, and of course has kind of had that sprint focus for the last year pretty much. So will he be able to refine that kind of middle distance quality that we know he's got?
We have Contamule, but actually more interesting, just before we had Topi Syrjalainen in the lead, but even more interesting, the runner here, Tomas Krifta, and he is a minute ahead of Syrjalainen, and now we start talking really good times here, because I mean, this starts to be very, very tough to beat now if Krifta can get this to the finish. He has done a great race so far, so it's going to be tough also for the biggest favorites. There is a couple of seconds to win between 10 and 11, but otherwise, no hesitation, no problems. So this is quite a task for Fosse, Breivik and the others.
Well, I mean, I would put Thomas Krifta in amongst the big favourites, and we know he's got a home advantage from Czechia as well. So, you know, he's just starting so early in the start list here. But I really would have put him in amongst the favourites anyway. I think he's just unlucky to be starting so early. Well, we'll keep an eye on him around this second bit, and Spasse goes into 6th place in the end. And we'll see whether anybody is going to be able to match that incredibly quick time of Krifta. Could it be Daniel Hubman, who took 5th place in the long distance? He actually posted on his social media that it's his worst ever Czech long distance results. I mean, taking a win in the World Championships there and loads of other kind of medals. That was actually his worst performance, but he said he was still very, very happy about it at the age of 43. Let's see what he does in the middle. Catching up with some of the athletes coming through here. I think we're looking for Tuko Seppa descending into control number 9. Seppa with 18th place on the long distance, and yeah, he's a couple of minutes down here. Although you say a couple of minutes down, but you've got to remember Krifta is so much faster than the others.
Yeah, and I can tell you, no problems for Krifta at 17, going straight now to 18. Very soon to catch Contamule.
And this is Polsini and Jonas here into the finish. Polsini sprinting in here. Will it be Switzerland 1, 2 and 3? He's quite possibly just going to come in the other side of Shalupski. But a really good race here, again, from Polsini, transferring that sprint speed into the forest, into 5th place, 29 seconds down. Some mistakes further back in the field. Aho having problems with 12. Simon Imark needs to be careful at 15. This is Kasper Fosse, 2nd place in the long distance, making a few errors out there. Let's see what he can do on this middle distance. He's the European and world silver medalist at this discipline.
And out on the course, we have Fabian Abersold doing a big mistake at the 5th control. But here we are behind Simon Imark, I think. Yes, indeed, to the 2nd TV split.
Yeah, he was quite high coming in 15, lost a bit of time.
I think he was in 3rd at the 1st TV control. Now he's in 5th.
And now Olli Ojanaho is dropping down here into the 9th control. I think who's he caught up? Lauri Sild, I think, from Estonia. And this is a pretty good start. He didn't run the long distance, so he had a knee problem. It's really interesting watching some of the GPS. Sorry.
Yeah, so very soon we're going to have Topi Syrjalainen to the last control, and then we know that it's just a couple of seconds until we have Thomas Krifta there as well.
Yeah, that's a good start for Ojanaho from Finland. He's still in the mix. And yeah, the next attention really is going to come towards the finish was Sirilainen towards Krivda. Let's have a look at Krivda's route, compare it with Bura and Sirilainen as well. Krivda just that really high speed all the way from the start.
Yeah, he loses a bit of time when he went through the stony area there between 4 and 5, but then he's still very good executed. Would be interesting to have Anton Johansson here in the comparison as well, because he's very close to Krivda at control 8. But you can see how, I mean, the speed is great, the execution is great, and here we have Topi Syrjäläinen, and this is a new leader in the finish.
Yeah, new lead by 43 seconds, Syrjäläinen. Really fast running here. Here's Krivda though, and how much faster is Krivda going to go? Will this be a medal-winning run here? We will have to wait and see, but as far as we can see, he's had a fantastic race around the course today, and he's going to have a nervous wait now to see where it's going to end him on in terms of the results. He's going to go in a minute and a half quicker. He's going to go underneath the estimated winning time, 31 minutes 51, and he is absolutely pumped with that. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, usually when you're so satisfied in the finish, you're going to get a good result because he knows what it's needed on home soil in this kind of forest to be quick. He's very satisfied with his run. I'm very, very confident that this is going to be a top 3 today. And I would say actually Topi Syrjäläinen had a great race as well. He's going to get a good result, but this, I mean, he's as you mentioned, under the expected winning time. The only thing is that he loses 20 seconds, maybe even a bit more here between 10 and 11. But otherwise, just great executed, very well done throughout the whole course. And I mean, even here at 17, he is very distinct, very quick. We were talking about Bure with his good execution, but I would say that Krivda is, well, probably even a bit quicker. He is indeed. So not Bure the quickest anymore on the last controls. So very, very good executed. Here we have Anton Johansson, and he had a good start as well. I told you about that just a couple of minutes ago. He was in the lead actually at control 8. So let's see how he compares to Thomas Krivda. Has a couple of meters to go until the first TV control.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, and we need to watch out which direction he leaves this control. Is he going to drop down towards the... No, he's not going to.
Yeah.
You can tell by him going over the rocks, he's going to... No, I'm not sure he's going to drop down enough. Some people have done that middle route.
Yeah.
No, some of those who've gone out in that direction, they're kind of staying fairly high, I think. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on the GPS as we have Gustav Bergman out to be the next starter, third from the end. 2 times middle distance silver medalist. He's been doing world championships since 2012. And said he kind of was happy with most of his race, just the last part. Oh, look at that. He's just taken a look at the other side of the map. Not seen anybody do that before on the run out. There is a map flip at 7, but it's mostly so you don't see 8 on the way to 5. And this is the mistake by Abasov that you were mentioning earlier.
He was very close to actually did everything right. I think he wanted to spot this big boulder on the southeastern border of the circle, and but he just didn't see the control. And then, of course, I mean, he does a mistake as well at 6, but I think he's kind of out of focus after the mistake. If you do a 2 minutes mistake in the middle distance, there's no chance you're going to get a medal anymore.
No, absolutely not. Those mistakes at 5 and 6 for Abasov. Mika Kimmela is the second to last starter. He took 5th place at the World Championships in the middle distance, was 10th in the long.
And interesting. We're going to hear now, I think, from Thomas Krivda.
Here with with our new leader, Thomas Krytter. Thomas, a big lead for you, 1.5 minutes. You looked happy. How was your race?
Yeah, I mean, it was a race where we expected a big technical challenge. So I'm extremely happy not to lose any big seconds on some of the controls. Of course, I'm aware of maybe some places where the others will catch some time on me, but otherwise, technically, considering this kind of terrain, I'm extremely proud of my performance. And physically, maybe not 100%, where I can see that the best will do, but still very close to my top possible performance. So yeah, extremely happy with the race, and good. Continuing on the good performance from Long on Thursday. So yeah, really happy.
And what do you think about this, the home terrain for you in Czechia? What's the advantage for you today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we usually race in more runnable terrains than this. So it's maybe not the best that can suit me, but still the kind of mapping style is used here. It's very common to us, so it's very easy to rely on vegetation and stuff we are usually looking for in the forest in Czechia. So I guess that's the mapping style is the most helpful for us here, even though the ground in places is much rougher than we usually have in Czechia.
And leading by 90 seconds, what do you hope for? Is there a podium waiting for you today, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly a bit surprised seeing this big gap in the finish. So it could tell that it might be really high at the end in the results, but I think it's still a lot of good runners that can do just as well as me, or even much better. So it's now just for me to wait here in the arena and hope for the best.
Go to the leaders' chair, Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, he says that, and we have the first one who's being able to challenge him at control 10. Victor Svensk going 1 second quicker.
I have to say that Victor Svensk opened really strong. He was 22 seconds ahead at control 8. Now I think they're equal at the TV control. So it was a quick start by Victor Svensk, but you have to keep the speed all the way to the finish. And Krytter, okay, he did not execute 11 perfectly, but still, I mean, he got it all the way to the finish. So it's going to be tough for Svensk. Can also tell you that we had especially Hoopman with a big mistake to 5, now caught by Fosser, but also Fosser had a bit of struggles there to this 5th control, so he's not perfect to the 3rd one. But it's going to take another 2 or 3 minutes until we have them at the TV control.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is kind of what I guess what Krytter was alluding to. He kind of knew the technicality would be so important, and the fact that he knows he hasn't really made any mistakes out there, even if he thinks, well, maybe I could have been a bit faster, or maybe there's some places where some of the other guys could be a bit faster. It's not making mistakes that's going to make him do well in the race today.
And I mean, especially when you have it is quite a technical course. Of course, you don't usually, or many of the runners won't lose 2 or 3 minutes at one control, but it's very easy to lose 15, 20 seconds at the control. And he knows that basically the only place, or he doesn't know yet, but he gets to know basically the only place where he lost a lot of time on one control is 10 and 11, where we actually have Victor Svensk who dropped down there.
Oh, this is a mistake from Breivik, because I was about to say he's going into the lead here ahead of Victor Svensk. And yeah, he's just lost like about 10 seconds there, just being a little bit too low. You have to do this, though. You kind of have to, you can't be too hesitant in the control. You kind of have to go to where you think it is. But then you can lose time just being on the wrong rock and things like that. So yeah. It's kind of, we'll have seen that from lots of different runners in lots of different parts of today's race, just not on the camera.
Here we can see that Victor Svensk early in the lead, he was about 22 seconds ahead at control 8. Then he loses time here somewhere between 9 and 10. You can see that Breivik has much better speed there, just out from control 8. Feels like Svensk maybe not pushing as quick as the others over the hill there. Now we get Simon Hector to the finish, but he's quite far behind, almost 3 minutes.
Yeah, we've got to remember there's still a 1.5 minute gap between first and second place on that course. And so Simon Hector still in the top 10 into 9th position. This is Mathieu Perrin on his way to control number 16. Running up the slope there. And you saw a few minutes ago, Yanaho went through into 3rd place. Still a good run for him, and Perrin doing well too.
And I can, as I mentioned before, Viktor Svensk dropped down from 10 to 11. My split on the GPS tells me that he is now about 25 seconds ahead of Tomasz Krivda, so definitely quite a big difference only on this leg, as expected. Next interesting name then, Anton Johansson to the second TV split in I would say in about half a minute.
Yeah, he is the world middle distance bronze medalist. He's on his way to the 15th control. See if we can pick him up on the cameras here. On his way to the 16th control, here he comes. And, Krivda was so far ahead. We're kind of now looking almost to see if the runners are going to kind of come into that 1.5 minute window to see whether they're going to end up in kind of a top 3 position by the time they reach the finish.
And actually, Anton Johansson, he did the mistake, I would say 25 seconds to the 12th control. He also stayed in the slope, but I mean, he shouldn't lose time there. Krivda did that as well. So I think the time he loses here from the first TV split to the second one, mostly due to a mistake to control 12.
So into 3rd position there. Yeah, and I'm watching so many, Breivik going straight to 11, Abersol going straight to 11. We saw Krivda going straight to 11. Viktor Svensk is really one of the only ones of the really top runners to have dropped down to that path. Whereas at the start of the broadcast, we were seeing lots of people drop down to the path. Here's Casper Foster on his way to split number 1. This is the 9th control first. Are you surprised to see so many of the top guys going straight?
Yes and no. I mean, it's a bit hard to say if I'm surprised or not. We haven't been out in the forest, and it's very hard to say how it is to run in the slope through a green area. My feeling is that many of the runners have experienced in the long distance and maybe in the beginning of this course that it's rather okay to run parallel to the slope, even if it's green. And that's why they choose. I mean, if you look at the map, basically what you have to do is to stay on height all the way to the control. And that is doable. I mean, you then come out into a wide area. It's not a very difficult control. So probably it's not a big surprise if you have spent about 2 hours in the forest already. But still, it seems very easy to get the control from below, and it's so little of a risk to take it. Even if you lose time, you know that you lose max 10 seconds if you look at the map. And if you compare that, I mean, Hoopman here lost about 2 minutes. This control we can see. So yes and no, I'm a bit surprised, but I'm not very surprised either, because they have so good confidence that they can catch controls like this without mistakes. So it's just if they think it slows them down enough or not. And obviously they think it doesn't slow them down.
Yeah, they think they're backing their own kind of like physicality and their strength through the terrain, that they think that they can do it. Tuko Seppa here. Not a good run for him today, 5 minutes down. And we can go back into the forest and catch up with Viktor Svensk on his way up towards control number 16. And remember, he dropped down to the track to get to number 11. Will that have put him significantly ahead of Thomas Krivda, who's still our current leader in the finish. Here he comes, the winner from the long distance. And I think it will be about the 20 seconds, won't it?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of this terrain we have seen when they approach this control, which they experience to be very tough. You have a bit of fallen trees on the ground, you have a vegetation, you're slightly uphill, and this is very energy consuming if you run it. You can see how, I mean, the speed didn't look very high on the video screen, but it is tough to run. I mean, they could even see the control already, and you still had the feeling that the speed is not very high. So it's very tough terrain to run there. This is the comparison now where we have Viktor Svensk dropping down. And I mean, the control is so easy from below, and it's so little of a risk. And there you could see the mistake by Johansson as well. Just that control 12 got up to this small rock there, boulder. I mean, the gap is only about 20 seconds. So still, he has to do the work all the way to the finish in order to stay ahead of Thomas Krivda.
Yeah, exactly. And Krivda executed the end very well too. Here's Savalainen just descending into control 9. You can see he's on the edge of this kind of open area here where there are all these fallen trees. And there is the boulder with the control itself. And he's already, already a minute down here. Oh, Breivik's making a big mistake to 14. And Breivik, the world middle and European champion, is absolutely not in contention in today's race. There's a couple of mistakes I think I've seen now from Breivik.
Yeah, I mean, he was only 7 seconds behind at the TV split, but now he dropped 1.5 minutes behind at this control here to 14.
We go Savalainen 2 minutes down, just pausing at that control. Okay, at the finish, here's Mathieu Perrin on the run-in now. Punched the last control on this car. And you can see there, he is already more than 2 minutes behind that lead of Krivda. And he's going to come round this last bend before going to punch the control. Just gradually, I think, losing time throughout the course here. And there we go, into 6th, just 4 seconds slower than Ruhala.
So very soon we're going to have Anton Johansson to the finish as well. Here we have Erik Langedal Breivik to the second split. But yeah, as we mentioned before, he lost about 1.5 minutes from the first TV split to this place here.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to have a look at that in the GPS in just a moment and find out exactly what happened to Breivik there. Here's Anton Johansson, and will he have done enough to get into the silver medal position at the moment? Still more than a minute behind the time of Thomas Krivda. We will applaud the Swedish runner into the finish. Really great middle distance form, and there we go, second place at the moment for Anton Johansson, with still about 10 or so runners still to come, still out there in the field, although we know the likes of Abersold, Breivik, Hubman, Savalainen do not have the pace. They've made too many errors to be able to match them, and I think, you know, the more time goes on, the more clearer, the more happy I am to hang at least a medal around Thomas Krivda's neck. Not sure yet what colour it's going to be, but Berryman here at the 9th control. Climbing over these fallen trees, does need to drop a little bit of height towards the next control. But it's a pretty decent start here from Gustav Bergman. Here he comes. And into 6th place there, ahead of Sirjalainen. And that's the direction you want to go if you're really dropping down towards the track. I think it looks like he's going to do that. So a good sign for me for Gustav Bergman. Let's have a look here at this mistake then from Breivik.
You can see it. Quite many runners struggle a bit with 14. I think we have seen exactly that mistake before. It was a Czech runner, wasn't it? Maybe Vandas. I don't really remember. I can also tell you that Fosse did a small mistake to 14 as well. I think he's about a minute behind now. And it's going to be very, very tight between Viktor Svensk and Tomasz Krivda. So he should be at the second to last control now. Viktor Svensk so soon to approach this meadow where we have to finish, as we see a mistake here by Lukas Liland. Also by... Yeah, here we have Viktor Svensk.
So what is it going to be then? This might be the battle between the top two runners here. Viktor Svensk.
And you
can
see
he is behind
there.
at control 20. By 7 seconds. So Viktor Svensk, the winner of the long distance, he's climbing up here towards the last control. You see the time ticking down. I don't think he's got enough. He's definitely not got enough time. It's going to be second here for Viktor Svensk. I thought he was going to be the one to take the crown away from Tomasz Krivda. He had a great start, but just not quite as direct into control 20. Showed that Krivda was absolutely fantastic around there, and it's going to be a second position at the moment. It may well still be a silver medal for Viktor Svensk. We will wait and see here. 15 seconds down on that time of Krivda, 32.05, and we can go back into the terrain because this is Kasper Fosse. And as you said, a small mistake to control 14. He was much better than the others. So many people have massively overshot that one, clearly not had a control of the distance. He was a bit off, but did have, I think, a bit of a better idea of the distance and then has come back to it. But as you can see, he's a minute down.
And actually, I wonder now, I mean, there's no one else out there who can be really a threat for Tomasz Krivda. Fosse a minute behind. I mean, we know that Krivda has been the quickest one from this point to the finish, and I mean Fosse is already a minute behind. We have Langedal Breivik, he's 1.5 minutes behind. I mean Gustav Bergman maybe he was half a minute behind at the TV control, actually dropped down to control 11, so I think that could be one runner who could get close. At the same time, we know how quick Krivda was in the very end. So even if you're close to him at control 16, you still have to do a lot of work to get ahead of him and stay ahead of him to the finish. This was the mistake there by Kasper Fosse at control 14.
So
here
where does Krivda catch up here?
Yeah, I mean Svensk, he goes out on the road. I'm sure it's not the absolute quickest to do so. But I think we have the winner here in the picture.
Yeah, I think you're right. And there's lots of applause there for Tomasz Krivda. I want to know what happened to Emil Svensk, though, because he's got to the first radio controls, not our TV controls, and he's more than 3 minutes down. I hope we're going to see some GPS from him. He was our last starter. But there we go. Tomasz Krivda, 14 seconds quicker than Viktor Svensk, with Anton Johansson in third place at the moment. And as you mentioned, if we're kind of looking for people to challenge, we've got Kasper Fosse, a few more controls to go. We've got Gustav Bergman, Erik Langedal Breivik. Looks like he's not going to feature in amongst the top three. So we will wait, I think, for Kasper Fosse and for Gustav Bergman to be the main challengers. Mika Kimmel has also already lost some time as well. So, yeah, you're going to see what will happen. But that, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the win there for Tomasz Krivda. A fantastic job. Just quite an understated job, but, you know, getting pretty much every control right, apart from that route choice. And he's going to be rewarded. Here's Erik Langedal Breivik with mistakes from him on this course. And he is going to be outside the top three today, European and world middle distance champion.
He could have actually had a good speed here as well, Breivik. I mean, we know that he did almost 1.5 minute mistake at control 14, had a small mistake at the TV control as well. But he's not that far. Yeah, it's not much more than 1.5 minutes he loses here compared to Thomas Krifta. So definitely the speed is there. But as we mentioned before, I mean, Krifta had such a good race basically everywhere except for 10 to 11 where he didn't have the best route choice. But there are not that many runners who actually had. And just to get back, you asked where Emil Svensk lost a lot of time. He missed out on control 6. Lost a lot of time there at the very beginning. So he won't be a threat for the top 3 today.
No, I'm not. It was a big mistake there. Let's just check the last routes then. So Victor Svensk still ahead into 19. Where did that overtaking come from? There we go. He just was absolutely on the compass, I think, to control 20. Stayed a little bit higher, kind of came above one of the crags possibly. And that was where it landed up then for Thomas Krifta. Here's Emil Svensk then. And as I said, 3 minutes down here. And he's still got to get to the next control where he is going to actually get the time check well out of the top 30 spots here for Emil. And this is going to be really disappointing. I think we'll see him through to this control and then catch the GPS tracking of just what exactly went wrong for our last starter today. And 3:22 down, and he's going to head straight, of course, to control number 11 as well.
Interesting, actually. Gustav Bergman at control 15. He's just behind Savolainen, so we should see him very soon here as well. Gustav Bergman, he is only 22 seconds behind at the pre-warning. So this is still a contender, but I still struggle. I mean, he has to be 22 seconds quicker than Krifta. It's one thing to be as quick as Krifta from here, but he has to be quicker. But nevertheless, I mean, this is a great run by Gustav Bergman. He wasn't satisfied after the long distance, but this middle distance, it is very strong.
Yeah,
he's only 13 seconds behind now.
This is really impressive
actually,
here for Gustav.
I mean, he was half a minute. He was 52 seconds behind at control 8, and 30 at the TV control, 22 at control 14, and now it's only 13. So the trend definitely into Bergman's favor. But we know that Krifta has been so good on the last couple of controls.
I'm trying to look at Gustav Bergman's kind of recent results and look at kind of individually. You know, his kind of peak came in, I guess, kind of like 2019. He took a middle distance silver medal in the World Champs in Norway, and you know, this will be, I think, really big achievement for him to take a good result like that. Here's Kasper Fosse though. As you can see, he is already slower than the top 2, and he's not going to get into the top 3 either today. Mistakes for Kasper Fosse at control 14. He managed to catch up Daniel Hubman, but it's actually, you can see again, drop behind him. And Fosse will be no medal for him today. Took the silver medal in the long distance and outside of it today.
Actually, I think that Gustav Bergman is doing a small mistake right now to 17. He's a bit early into the green. So either it's a GPS that's not 100% accurate, or then he's losing a couple of seconds there.
Yeah, I think you're right. The ones who've done that control really successfully to 17 have basically gone straight through the forest and then straight into the control, and you kind of get into this middle green rather than the darkest green.
Yeah, you have almost to climb a little bit in order to get a straight line into the control. Here we can see the mistake by Emil Svensk. Control 6, he was basically at the boulder where the control is located. But we have been talking a lot about this. It's very, very hard to relocate in a rocky area like this, because the thing you can look for is rocks. And if you're in an area full of rocks, where I mentioned that in the beginning of the broadcast, the smallest rocks mapped are 3 meters and higher. So it's like you're looking for rocks in a rock field. That's very, very difficult. And then you need to find the most distinct ones to relocate. So it's very, very tough. Here we have the comparison. You can see a small mistake there also from Victor Svensk at 14. And then, of course, from Kasper Fosse. But it's been interesting to have Gustav Bergman in this comparison as well.
You know what? I wonder if there's almost like a control from one of the other courses on that other boulder. Everybody kind of like keeps going off to the right, and I'm trying to figure out why. No, because you can't have controls that close on the same feature.
No, exactly.
Right, Mika Kimmler coming into control 16. He's a second to last starter here and outside of the top 10. He's actually caught up Lucas Leland there by 4 minutes, or Leland with a massive, massive mistake at control 5. Again, just too low. And both of those out of contention for medal spots. So too is Emil Svensk, will be through here in another few minutes. Let's take a little look then at all these routes from 10 onwards. Bergman and Victor Svensk go south.
Here we have Gustav Bergman in the comparison as well. He did a good job here from 10-11. You can see that Victor Svensk still quite far ahead at control 11. Then they get closer at 12. Actually, Bergman ahead of Krift at this point, or at least it looks like that when we compare the GPS only. Might be not 100% accurate, because we know that he has been behind at 16. But then here he drops a bit low, and then he has to spend more time in the dark green. You can see how he loses. I mean, he is out of the decision. He just gets stuck a little bit in the green there. I would say about 40 seconds maybe. And that's the decision in this race. The question now is it going to be position 3 or 4 for Gustav Bergman?
Yeah, if you're looking then at the time, so third place Anton Johansson is 1:14 slower than Thomas Krifter. So there is a little gap there for somebody to go into that spot. Will it be Gustav Bergman, or will his teammate Anton Johansson get the bronze? I love that cut there from the kind of fist pump pose from Thomas Krifter. They have a little cut out of him in the arena, and then it just merged to him sitting on the leader's chair. He does the same kind of pose again, because it is absolutely going to be another World Cup win for Thomas Krifter. And I'm pretty sure this is his first Forest World Cup win. He has taken a medal in the sprints before. He won in Uster in 2025 in Switzerland, but that was a sprint. And all 3 of his World Cup medals, he's got 1 gold, 1 silver and 1 bronze. They've all come from a sprint race. So this is by far his best forest race here, Krifter.
Yeah, and I mean, what a performance today by Thomas Krifter. Just incredible. You can see how much confidence he had when he ran. You could see how he felt home in this kind of terrain. And we said it when he finished, it's very hard to beat this, because there was no place where he actually did a technical mistake. Of course, this one decision that he didn't pick right, but most of the others didn't either. And here we have Gustav Bergman also, he with a great performance.
Yeah, it's going to be a bronze for Gustav Bergman today. 52 seconds behind Krifter in the end. And that will be his 14th World Cup bronze medal. Last time he won one was in Idre in the Middle Distance. But there we go. That confirms the win there for Thomas Krifter, and he can celebrate in front of his home crowd.
And we have to say, I mean, what a performance by Gustav Bergman as well. He's very much up and down the last couple of months and even years. I know that he struggles a lot of back pain, which causes problems for him in training and competitions as well. But today, I mean, this was a very good performance technically. This one control 17 in the end, I don't think he would have beaten Krifta, but it would have been very, very tight otherwise. But what a race by Gustav Bergman. I really didn't count with him in this kind of terrain in a continental course, middle distance where you have so many competitive men. I would not have guessed this. I would have put it the next medal then probably in Scandinavian terrain, but this, well, a great performance by the experienced Swede here.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there. You look back at his kind of middle results and he's got so much success on Scandinavian terrain, and yeah.
So he said that it was quite bad there to 17. He got too much to the left and he lost the track, so he lost a lot of time there. So his analysis is spot on as well, just in the finish.
Yeah, he's a very analytical orienteer. You know, he always writes up everything there. There's his wife, Helena, and child there supporting dad on the races. There's the whole family who have a life of travelling around to all sorts of events supporting Gustav. And let's have a look then, because he was, as you can see, ahead of Krivda there going into control 16.
Yeah, he has also the analysis there, the coach, Eva Jurenikova, former Czech national team runner, now in the Swedish coaching team. You can see, I mean, he said it came too much to the left and then he lost the track through the green. And, well, in the end, as I said, I think it would have been a matter of seconds, but I think he would be kind of about 10 seconds behind Krifta anyway. But, well, who knows? Well executed to 20 as well, as good as Krifta. But here we have him, the winner of today's middle distance. So many fourth position, you named it, in the long distance, Catherine. Finally, he gets a victory in the forests.
Yeah, he's kind of one we've talked about for so many years and thought he is so close to getting a medal performance, and then it kind of comes, and it's a gold one as well. I think really taking advantage of the home terrain, but I mean that comes as well with a lot of pressure as well, and sometimes you almost know it too well. You're trying to second guess yourself. It's really complicated in terms of the mentality of running that. But he's, you know, he just said he was technically clean. He maybe didn't think he was the fastest, and I think at that point when we were kind of asking him questions, he didn't really know how much time he'll have lost on 10 to 11 going straight. But it didn't matter. It was almost a perfect run, but good enough for the gold, good enough for the win.
I mean, you're highlighting the pressure. I'm not really sure, actually. I mean, in my opinion, that within the Czech male team, I don't think they have so much pressure especially like from the home crowd, for example. No one expects them really to win. Pressure is on Fosse, pressure is on the Langedal Breivik. But I think the pressure they put on themselves, but they don't have to, like, no one would be disappointed in the audience if he would finish fifth. And I think it's quite a nice kind of position to start into a home World Cup in, because of course you know that this is going to be your big chance for a good result. You're familiar with the terrain, the kind of navigation where you have to use the vegetation as attack points as well. They are much more distinct here in continental terrain compared to Scandinavian terrain, or you find them in other areas of the world as well. And I think it gives you you put a bit of pressure on yourself, but I don't think that he expects of himself to actually have to win a race here in the World Cup. Might change in the coming World Cup rounds, but I don't think so at the moment. So there we have the GPS then of the top three. Skrifta, Victor Svensk, and Gustav Bergman. You can see that none of them with really problems in the very beginning, but you can see that Skrifta actually is ahead here. I mean, the tail 2 minutes, I would guess it's about 10 seconds compared to Victor Svensk, 25 maybe already compared to Gustav Bergman. I have the feeling that Skrifta loses a little bit of time here in this rocky area, that Gustav Bergman, for example, gets a bit closer. But Svensk with the route around quicker at 5. He is then the quickest one of the three of them at control 8 as well. I would say that he loses time. He lacks a bit of speed here up over this hill. We've seen that when we compared him to Langedal Breivik, for example. My feeling is that Skrifta gets closer between 8 and 9 then. And then here, especially this one, 10 to 11, where we have Victor Svensk and Gustav Bergman, both of them dropping down. It was about 20 to 25 seconds quicker to do so. So at this point, still looked very, very good for Victor Svensk. Then started to hesitate a little bit, as many others. Around here, 13, especially 14, he had a small mistake, but he was able to defend his lead all the way to 16. And then Skripta from, here we have the decision with Bergman, where he loses time in the green. Victor Svensk actually going out on that street, lost time there. Down to 19 as well, a little bit. Yeah, it was really in the very, very end where he was able to overtake Victor Svensk. Felt like he ran a little bit out of gas, but let's hear now from Thomas Skrifta again.
Today's winner, Thomas Skrifta. Thomas, it lasted all the way to the end. The first Forest World Cup win for you and on home ground here in Czechia. How does that feel?
Extremely special, for sure. I have managed to win my first World Cup last autumn in Switzerland, but yeah, to win a World Cup in the forest and before the home crowd, it's a dream come true. And especially after the summer's World Championships races, where I totally messed up and didn't deliver the good results at all. So yeah, a great and huge satisfaction after the World Championships.
And you've had time to sit in the leader's chair. You've watched Victor Svensk, Gustav Bergman coming in after you. What do you think were decisive for that you took the win today?
Yeah, as I said, I feel like I managed to run through the whole race as in the books or as in the guidelines. I was 99% of the race in the control, knowing I'm not gonna make a mistake today. And yeah, it lasted all the way to the finish. And I think Gustav, yeah, he made a small mistake towards the end. And maybe with Victor, it felt like maybe I was a bit faster physically at the end, but yeah, really close race with Victor, and really great to see the gap to the others.
And you mentioned it yourself, maybe not the best sprint world championships for you 3 weeks ago in Italy. What has it been like readjusting to the forest, and how do you explain performing so well today?
Yeah, I really looked forward coming back to the forest, especially when it was yeah, World Cup in Czechia, and yeah, we had some doubts about these terrains, if it can really suit us really well, because it's a bit more rough than we usually train and race at in Czechia. But yeah, I'm a World Cup winner here now, and that feels extremely special, and I'm extremely proud of myself, and yeah, just what a day, yeah, amazing.
And we have the women's race coming up. Do you think it will be a good day as well for Teresa, Lucy and Denise, as we saw on the long distance?
Yeah, for sure. They have already proved us that they came here in a good shape, and yeah, I'm pretty convinced that all three of them can do extremely well today, and really exciting to now be standing next to the run-in and cheer for them.
We're all excited to see the women's race. Congratulations on your win today, Thomas.
Thank you very much.
Sure, he could have our job. He had pretty good analysis of what was going on there, as you can see the final results there, Jonas.
To be fair, our job isn't that hard either. Compared to what he is delivering in the forest, we have quite an easy job. So I think there are quite many of the runners who could do this commentating as well.
That's not what you're meant to say. You're meant to say it's really hard and can't possibly do a good job. But no,
sometimes you have to be honest, Catherine.
Well, he was very honest today, assessing his run and, kind of talking about the excitement, I think, to get back into the forest after, spending a whole year focusing on the sprint. So we've seen the results today. Gustav Bergman there coming into third place, Victor Svensk in second, and first place for Thomas Krivda. Want to shout out Mathieu Bura for 9th place in the end for the 20-year-old. Fantastic result for him, getting inside the top 10. Other few younger runners as well. You had Jakub Szelupski into 15th, Daniel Bolachowski from Czechia into 18th in the end. Pretty exciting stuff. And I mean, great news for Sweden as well to have 2nd, 3rd and 4th. They'll be very delighted with that.
Yeah, and especially they will be very motivated for the coming relay then with such a good performance here in the middle distance. And I mean, we know that the relay length of the legs then is closer to a middle distance than to a long distance. So this is going to be very, very exciting for the Swedish team. And I think it's very important as well for the Swedish team because especially the men's team, it happens often in Sweden that they get a lot of, many people are kind of hard to them because they haven't delivered good long distance results in the past. And so I think it's good for them to get back here and get such good forest results here with Victor Svensk winning the long distance, now being second as well in the middle distance, and to get back Gustav Bergman in good shape here with a medal position as well. So yeah, it looks good for Team Sweden for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can do our flower ceremony then for the top 3 athletes who don't really get a chance to warm down very much before we can award them their flowers. And as you mentioned, in third place, it's actually the 24th World Cup medal for Gustav Bergman, and he can be congratulated there, 36 years of age, and a really just solid run for him. Only a small mistake at control number 17. Well, 2 top 3s for Victor Svensk. Fantastic work from him, taking the win in the long distance, and second place then in today's middle distance by just 14 seconds. And just kind of he took a really good route on 11, just a few small kind of errors or hesitations in the micro route choices. But, well, we've got a home winner from today. Thomas Krivda taking his first ever World Cup Forest medal, and it's the win at that too. And there's so much success in the Czech orienteering camp. The women really showed it at the World Championships in terms of the sprint, with Lucy Dietrichova and Teresa Raturi winning that knockout as well. And now the success has carried through into the men's side as well. I know there was just huge team celebrations over in Italy, and there will be again today for this win from Thomas Krivda.
Yeah, and good that you named that, because I was just about to say that as well. It's so obvious that we have teams like coming up, like Czechia with first it was the women's team with Teresa Roturier and Lucy Dietrichova, Denisa Granvad, who's like getting back into getting very good results as well now in the men's class with Thomas Krivda. And also with Chalupski and OWC as well, very good results. So we have they've really, as a team, growing again. We have seen the same thing, especially in sprint, with the French team is really coming back and having great results. Team Finland has had very good development the past year, so it's getting much tighter in top, and I think that's a very good thing to see. It's not only Sweden, Norway, and Switzerland anymore. We have many more nations up there, and I think that's good for the sport.
Yeah, well, it was a thrilling men's competition with a really technically adept performance taking the gold as well. Are we going to see the same in the women's race today? We've already, in fact, had 24 finishers of this women's race, and it's going to be another interesting, technical, tricky one for the runners out in the forest today. That's the hill they've been competing on, starting near the top of it as well. It's got a little bit warmer now, of course, as the afternoons progress, and a little bit warmer for the women today, but we'll have our winning time of about 32 minutes in the men's course. Was only 9 seconds off that one, so we are expecting it to run quite close to form. Obviously a little bit shorter for the women, 4.5 kilometres. It's a mostly downhill course, as I said, with 120 metres of climb still, and they have got 20 controls, and they will mostly be making their way down through the forest. Different kind of ages and types of tree, with some of it really very dense, very green, the white very, very runnable, but compared to the long distance a couple of days ago, much stonier. This is the course, this is the map. Jonas, do you want to talk us through it?
Yeah, and it's quite a similar course to what we have seen in the men's race, but it's shorter in the beginning, this first loop. They kind of skipped it here in the women's race. We've seen it in the men's race. It was not the most decisive part of the course, so I think it's it's okay to skip this one. 3 to 4, very similar when it comes to the route choice. Either you drop down and keep height, or then you go more to the right and attack control 4 from above. Map flip then at control 6. Not as far to control 7, so slightly different route between or leg between 7 and 8. Then we have TV control at 9, and this might be important here. It's not the same control from 9 to 10, so I guess that here you actually the quickest one is to get through the green and not run down to the path. Otherwise very similar. Also the second part with the TV control at 15. Then we have this control at 16, which was quite decisive in the men's course. I was a bit afraid on beforehand that it would be mostly transportation to 15 to the finish, but we have seen that there has actually been differences in how distinct they executed the controls there, even if of course the differences were not minutes, but it could be decisive seconds anyway. This is leg 4 to 5, as mentioned before. It's not the same control 4 as we had in the men's race, so it's a bit different, but I think the concept is the same. Maybe it's a bit more likely that you actually go on the red option because it's closer to the path. At the same time, you have to, I would not expect them to actually climb up again. I would say that they stay below the green and then attack the small path from there. There we have a glimpse again from the terrain in this rocky area. This control 6, it's not the control that they struggled the most with, but you can see that visibility in this area here with a bit of lower trees is not perfect. I think you have many stones. So the controls they actually struggled with was just the 2 controls before this control 6, but still you get an idea about how it looks like in this slope here. It's quite stony still. I would say runnability is okay. You can find your way, as Matthew Bure said it in the interview, as long as it is stony and white on the map. I think it's still doable to run in it. Then we have the switch there from the west side of the hill to the eastern side of it. You can do it in different ways. Again, we have seen that in the men's race as well. There it wasn't that important what he executed. I would say that the most of the runners here in the women's race go rather straight, because you would need to climb to actually get to the red option, and I don't think that's a good thing to do here. Mentioned this one before. It's not the same leg. It's shorter in the women's race, and I would say it's good to go straight here. Actually, I just took a look at the GPS, the quickest option so far. Tuva Östangård, she went quite straight, so not drop down to the path on this one. I would say you execute the blue one, it's the quickest one. Then another glimpse, it's from that section where they actually struggled a bit. So this control 13, we have seen many men doing small mistakes at this one. When you leave the control, it's quite open again. Use those yellow parts, which actually, this is something you should use kind of passively. If you see it, then it's fine. Here you have it. For example, you get out of it. It's not that easy to see. We talked about that in the men's race. It's because the vegetation on the ground doesn't really shift. So if you look up to the sky, you can see that there are no trees covering the sky. But if you just look on the ground, there's no big difference to see, which makes it a bit harder to spot those yellow areas. So use them passively. If you see them, it's a good thing to keep in mind. If you don't see it, well, just go on. You will see other things on the way, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, it's much easier said than done. This is the start list then, 2-minute starting intervals. As we can see, the top ranked athletes will go much later, but that means that some of our kind of juniors or first year seniors who haven't got many world ranking points but have lots of potential starting quite early on, as you can see. And Jonas, who should we really be looking out for in terms of our favourites?
Well, if we look at the early starter, it's quite an easy task because we already have live results up there. Of course, then it's Lucy Dietrichova, who had a good long distance, actually started quite well now after 10 minutes of running. Freya Järne is in third in the finish, so maybe did a couple of mistakes. If we switch to the big favorites, of course, we have to talk about Simona Abersold, Pia Young-Beek. Thomas Krifta said it. I think it suits the Czech runners good as well. Dietrichova, Kralova, they can perform really good here. And then, of course, you can do mistakes here. It is open, but the big favorite for me is Simona Abersold. After everything we have seen the last weeks, we have to put her as the biggest favorite for today.
Absolutely. You saw Clara Borg sitting there in the leader's chair. She was actually the second starter today. It's her senior debut. She was racing in JWOC a couple of years ago, which was actually in Czechia as well. But great to see her making the senior team, and not just making it, but being currently on the leader's chair after being the second starter. But could Evelina Oyanaho be the one who's going to go the quickest at this point here? This is control 9, and you can see she is catching up a lot of people here. I think that's Annika Simonsen, who she's caught up there from Denmark, and Lucy Semikova as well from Czechia. There's like a whole big group of 3 of them there today, and Evelina Oyanaho is the fastest one there with a really, really great result. So we've mentioned her already a couple of times on the broadcast, Lucy Dietrichova, who is a really great upcoming star from Czechia. I say upcoming star, I mean, she got bronze medal in the sprint in Italy. She had a pretty decent race, of course, as well. Pretty decent, I mean, she was 5th. Pretty incredible race 2 days ago in the long distance. And yeah, she's got loads and loads of potential. As you said already, it's home terrain for her. Krifta was saying it's a little bit kind of rougher, a bit greener than a lot of the areas they race on. But I think that's neither here nor there, to be honest. I think they will be, when you're getting to World Champs, World Cup level races, you're expecting them to be on quite green terrain, because that's how it becomes tricky, and because the level is so high. If it was all in white runnable forest, there would be no challenge at all. So these are our current standings then at the finish. As you can see, the results drop down with Clara Borg still our current leader. Freya Järne, as you mentioned, her really great success as well, again in the Junior World Championships. Championships this year. She won both the Junior World Champs long and middle distance race and is there into third place as well. She took 7th place in the long distance. Maybe not quite as good a run in today, but really great for her. Let's take Lucy Detrikova then to control 8 and 9. This is really quick. Look at this. Catching her up. We're already 2 minutes to go on the clock. And she's running with Hedvig Fabian Gudesen. And I think she'll have caught the Dane up by 2 minutes. So again, already we'll get some good feedback here.
And this part of the forest, definitely not one of them that Krifta highlighted as a tough and rough part. I think it is quite good runnability over the hill here. It's mostly in the next section between 8 and, well, let's say almost all the way to the finish, where you actually have to fight for every meters, maybe not here yet, but if you drop down a couple of meters and then you have this more greener bits. I mean, you've said that when we saw the drone picture before, you can see the different ages of the forest, and I think it's when they come here, it's kind of you come into an area where they have done some woodwork a couple of years ago, and now it's growing up again, and the vegetation is younger and it's tougher to run here.
But I think she's possibly making a mistake here. She's going to be a bit
She's
too
a bit high.
She really needs to drop down, and you can kind of see her go above some of the green sections. And I wonder if this is a small mistake here from Lucy Detrikova. You can see she was looking at her kind of control descriptions here to get the right part, but she must be too high here. She's stayed on the same level. If you're looking at the GPS, she stayed on the same level, and she actually needs to drop down 2 contours. There she is. Has she spotted what's going on here?
That's exactly the point, Catherine. I mean, you on a control like this, the only thing, I mean, you don't have to do so much work on this control, but what you have to have control over is that it is 2 contour lines I have to drop. It's 10 meters. That's quite a lot on the leg. That's maybe 70 meters to run. So that's the only thing you have to know here, more or less. And of course, what to expect. It's also good if you come from below, because then you can look up and you are more likely to see the control. But it's not a difficult control, or at least,
no,
you can, of course, you can miss 10 seconds, but not.
Yeah, she was heading out of 8 and she was staying on line. Everybody else has dropped down. She was kind of going over some of the rocks, and you could see a really big difference in her exit direction on 8 to 9 compared to some of the others. I could kind of tell as soon as she left 8 that she was going to go wrong. Let's have a look at the GPS.
She lost about 40 seconds doing this. So we have the GPS. A bit unnecessary there, this curve. She was running towards control 4, but still, I mean, it's well executed, no problems at the control. Actually, no one of this group here really struggled at control 4. Oh, yeah, now with a small mistake or with a mistake to control 6. Then here we could actually follow Detrikova for a couple of meters into control 8. And then here you can see that she stayed on height. It's too high up. She should have dropped 2 contours, none of the others. I think the gap now about 22 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's going straight to control 10. This is Jana Petrova from Czechia. Of course, we're going to focus quite a lot on the home runners here today. She picks up the map, folding it nice and small, and really looking up then to get out towards the actual start point itself. And very quickly she'll disappear in amongst the trees. Okay, let's have a look at zooming in here. And this will be maybe a mistake from Freya Hjerne. Absolutely.
Yeah, we know that Freya Hjerne is, she lost 3.5 minutes in the beginning of the course. She's 2 minutes behind in the finish. So this is the mistake she does. Also, Florence Zanauer with this, a similar kind of mistake. It is when you don't get this control in the first try. We have seen that in the men's race as well. It's very, very hard to relocate. Petrova then with a mistake at control 5 as well. So the runners there, they lost a lot of time in the beginning of the course, so they won't have any chance to be in. To end up in the top 10 in a good position today.
So there we have Lucy Detrikova in the lead there at split number 1, but with a mistake to the time, the control where we took that time. Could have been closer to a minute ahead of Evelina Ojanaho from Finland, but actually she's done quite well on the route to the next control and got there ahead of Gideson from Denmark, who she was kind of running alongside. Let's head back to the start then. Victoria Hestad Bjornstad from Norway, for me starting really early on in the standings. She did take a top 10 in the long distance a couple of days ago, and I think probably has much more sprint world ranking points compared to Forest world ranking points, but she's such a quality runner as well. I would expect her to do a lot better than her starting position at the finish. Here's Eva Ernhagen Jørgensen coming into second place here at the finish. She had a fantastic qualification, did the Dane, was second in her heat, and is being rewarded here with a second place so far. Great work from the young Dane.
Very soon we're going to have Lily Graber to the finish as well. I think that's her. And this is going to be tight for maybe a new best time for Lily Graber.
Yeah, she's running really well here. And you can see it is going to be close. I think it might be enough here. I don't think that run-in's 45 seconds. It's a long one, but
No,
it's not that long. And this is, again, a good performance here from Lily Graber.
Yeah, it's a good run. I think she had one small mistake throughout the course somewhere, but still, I mean, she's going to be at around 35.5 minutes. That's okay, of course.
Yeah, great finish for her there. Let's catch up with Evelina Ojanaho, who was in second place at the first TV check. And she is still there in a big, there's 3 of them still in that big group. We've got Semikova and Simonsen, so she's caught up 2 and 4 minutes on the runners alongside her. And you can see she's leading the way here onto the next control as well. And taking the lead there by 50 seconds. Very, very strong work. Let's catch up with another of the Danish runners. This is Ida Agve Christiansen, dropping through on her way towards control number 9. And yeah, you can see actually just how much you need to drop in order to get to that control. You can see the kind of sections of slightly more dense trees on her way into it as well. This is a much better route into this one. And control's just the other side of the boulder to hers. She's 2 minutes down, exactly the same time as her teammate Gideson. Gideson, who's now making a massive mistake to control number 12. I think she's hit a track and gone and not quite knowing where she was when she hit the track.
I think you are overdoing it a little bit. I mean, she's doing a mistake. Is it going to be a massive mistake? Maybe it's going to be 2 minutes.
But it's a fairly basics mistake. You've hit the track and it's going east. You should be going west to east and it's going north-south.
I agree that it is a stupid mistake, but it's not a massive mistake yet.
No, we'll wait and see whether she's able to get that, how quickly she's able to get back on track. Let's take a look at those. Yeah, Lily Graber Jørgensen just a little bit further behind there. This is Paula Gross, next to begin. Won her heat, in fact. She was 5th place at the European Championships in the middle distance a couple of years ago. That was in Hungary. We've got the European champs in Lithuania. I'm just trying to think about when it actually is. It's the end of September, isn't it? And so in a couple of months' time. So I think for those athletes who've maybe found that their forest form has suffered a bit with such a big focus on the sprint, they do have time to kind of work on it over the next month and a half or so before heading over to Lithuania for those European Championships. So we're looking for Lucy Detrikova here, seeing if we can catch up with her on her way out of control, 14 towards 15. And the gap was, what, 22 seconds?
Gap was 22 seconds, and Titrikova, she continued executing 10, 11, 12, 13 quite well. But let's hear then from the leader in the finish, from Lily Graber.
With the new leader, Lily Graber of Switzerland. Lily, tell us about your race today.
Yeah, felt really nice. Yeah, it felt like I knew how to orienteer in the forest again. It was not that easy to switch so fast from sprint to forest, and in the long distance it felt pretty solid technically, but I think I didn't quite find the right speed. So today I really wanted to go aggressive again, and as soon as I had a plan, I just wanted to push, and also I really had the legs for it. So yeah, it felt really great.
And what do you think is the biggest challenge on the course today?
I think really to slow down when it's necessary, but then also really push hard, because there are also fast passages, and also with the vegetation you really just have to fight through, I guess.
That's all. Congratulations on a great race, Lily.
Thank you so much.
And Catherine, I have to start to give actually a point to you, because Gudesen is doing a massive mistake at control 12. Now she's spent so much time there that I have to agree with you.
Well, I feel like now I've given her a commentator's curse, because it wasn't going to be that big a mistake. But yeah, she took a long time to kind of relocate, almost came back to 11 before getting there. So, but yeah, I think she has now found the control. Okay, Yvan Dongen next to start. The Dutch runner lives in Sweden and made the top 20 a couple of days ago in the long distance. Started orienteering as an adult. Almost all of the competitors we will see on the start list today will have started kind of as maybe when they were 10 or when they were in their teens. This is Gudesen then, a recap of what happened to her. So she's come out here, got the direction slightly wrong, hit this ride, thinks she was left of the line, has turned right and gone in, as if she was going into the control, and just wasn't able to relocate. Kind of ended up going back, saw that massive boulder, and still
the thing is that she's at the Catton area, and then there is this kind of track you could see, and you can be at two different points when you see this Catton area. You are either very close to the control or you are not. And if you don't see the control, then you're not there. So I think it's not the hardest part to relocate. Of course, it's something different when you're out in the forest in a competition situation. But you can do the mistake, but that it grows that big, you could avoid it actually.
Petrova coming through here. We saw a big mistake from her at control number 4. That's one of the things that explains her being more than 5 minutes down here. So a couple more minutes and we'll see Evelina Oyanaho in towards the finish. She's a couple of controls from the end. But we'll take Petrova all the way through to the 9th control. We get the check. You can see she's not quite sure whether it's going to be above her or below her. She knows she's close. She knows the camera's there. The advertisements are there as well. But yeah, she's just dropped a little bit too much there and now having to climb up into the control itself.
Yeah, but you can see that Petrova, she did this big mistake at control 5. I'm not sure if she already missed control 4, but she was a long time around control 5. And in her case, actually, I think it's like you lose a little bit that motivation to do the work all the way, or that focus you need to really read the map from the first step to the last step in order to avoid mistakes like this. So there's a risk for her that this will kind of continue on the next controls.
So that was split 1, and we just saw Petrova, a reminder of the standings with Lucy Ditrikova and Evelina Oyanaho in the top 2 positions at the moment. Our current leader at the finish is Lily Graber, but we both have Evelina Oyanaho and Lucy Ditrikova on their way through to the finish very, very soon. This is Venla Talavori here alongside Rita Marmarosi from Hungary. And Rita Marmarosi has been caught up by 4 minutes by the Finn. So Venla Talavori is the faster of the two runners you can see in the picture. And being quite careful dropping down here towards the next control. You can see slightly more dense patches of forest in that shot as well. And here she comes, nice and controlled here. She's not quite sure whether it's going to be below or above her. And you've got to really be, kind of, when you get close to the circle, be kind of looking around. But you've kind of got to do that with some confidence as well. It's so easy to lose your speed in the control circles. You're not exactly sure where it is. You've got to kind of run in there with a lot of confidence to be able to keep that time up. Otherwise, you're losing, 10 seconds per control. Evelina Ianaho then to the finish. Is it going to be a new leading time? It is absolutely going to be a new leading time from the Finn. And rounding the last corner as well. She's been kind of in a group of three for a long part of this course, but she's been the attacking here, and is going to be rewarded with a new fastest time. So 34:58, a new leading time for Evelina Ianaho of Finland. But we have our winning time, our expected winning time of 32 minutes. There's still a way to go to get to that one.
Actually, I looked through a little bit through her course, through her performance, and it was very good executed all the way. No bigger mistakes for Evelina Ianaho. So I think this is a good race, and she should be very satisfied with it. I still think it's not really the same thing as we have seen in the men's race. There's a small mistake at 13 for her. If we compare it to Thomas Klift, I think we're going to see runners with maybe better physicality to be a bit quicker. You can also see to 16 she played it safe to go around, but overall I would say that was good, well executed, and she can be satisfied with this performance for sure.
This is Ida Agve Christiansen on her way to control 15 now. We've got Lucy Detrikova heading towards 19 and then the finish line as well. But Ida, as you can see, I think dropping a little bit more time here. You can see all of these fallen trees just really impedes the running here, and all of these kind of very small rocks are kind of hidden in the terrain, hidden behind all the undergrowth and the moss and everything growing on them. But here she comes into the control itself. In the top 10 at the moment.
And looking back a little bit to control 4, 5 and 6, there are many runners struggling right now. We had Nikli doing a big mistake, Hesta Björnstad doing a big mistake, Mattila missing control 4 right now by, a couple of minutes. So many of the runners struggled there in this tricky, stony area.
Alva Sonesson can't have struggled too much because she's still within touching distance then of these two athletes. And here is the finish then from Lucy Detrikova, who's going to give a big cheer here. And the time gap is a big one. At the first TV split, she was 22 seconds ahead despite a mistake. Then it grew to 44 seconds, and it has grown again compared to Evelina Ianaho. It's not the perfect race from Lucy Detrikova. She had problems on control 9. We actually saw it on the TV picture, but it's still going to be a big new lead here for Lucy Detrikova from Czechia, 33:51. Fifth place in the long distance. I'm not sure whether it's going to be as good at the start when we've got lots of other fast runners still to come, but we'll wait and see.
But I would still say it was a very good race, because if you look how many of the runners that struggle and give away a lot of time at 4, 5 and 6, of course, she lost about 45 seconds at control 9, but otherwise it was good, well executed, and you have, I mean, it's not that easy to do a race here with only about 45 seconds to a minute mistake. So I think still this can be a very good result in the end.
Yeah, Jana, as you can see there, made a mistakes into 13. And then Detrikova, I think, goes back out to the path here. In fact, takes it pretty much all the way into the control, climbing a bit of extra distance, but I think it works for her, you know. And then stays bang on the line through to control 19 and into the finish. A really nice end, and I think it probably paid off her going 16 to 17 on the path like that, even though she had a lot of extra climb. This is Frida Wikström. Then if we head back to the start, her best Forest World Cup is 13th. Can she go better than that today? As you get kind of more towards the last, we're into kind of the last 20 runners now. Heading nice and smoothly out of the starts. There's a lot of nervousness for some athletes on the start line. Victoria Hestad-Bjornstad is looking very speedy coming through here. You can see just how much she's looking up, and then you can spot the open bit. She knows it's on the left-hand side of the open. But clearly some struggles already on the course from Victoria Hestad-Bjornstad. She looks quick into this one, but she's already a minute down.
She struggled quite a bit with control. I think it was 4 or 5. With control 5. Then caught Alina Nikli there. And now they're together on the way to control 9.
Yeah, the two of them now, 4 eyes looking for this control. They're very close to it. And in there, about 2 minutes down then on Detrikova, just outside of the top 10. I mean, and that, you know, making a mistake, Nikli, there is 6 minutes down. You make a mistake on one of those sections in the very north of the map at this point here. Let's see what happened to Alina Nikli.
And she was a bit early.
Just
She was
no
a bit
descent. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a bit far to the left. You should really try to get maybe even the stone where you get there just beside control 7, and then the one at the border of the circle at control 4, because that's a massive boulder. If you get those two, then you're kind of safe, at least to be close to the control. If you don't get them, then you're kind of gambling into the control.
But the key bit is they don't have number 7 on their map, because if they did, they might be able to go to number 7, know exactly where they are, and then take that to get to number 4. But they've got a map exchange to try and stop them from doing that, to make it a little bit harder. As we see Denisa Kralova heading out into the terrain. She was 11th in the long distance. But we're going to hear then from our new leader.
And here with our new leader, Czechia's Lucy Detrikova. Lucy, a big lead for you now, but we also saw you losing some time out there at control 9, I think. What's your feeling here after the race?
Yeah, I made mistakes to control 9 when I stopped on a wrong green color, and I wasn't exactly sure where I am because I saw a rock, and it was quite similar situation as the control should be. But yeah, at all I tried to focus on my navigation and be careful in the rocks especially. And yeah, it was a nice race, and yeah.
And we saw another great race for you 2 days ago. How well do you think this terrain suits you, and why do you think you perform so well right now?
Actually, I don't know. I'm really surprised that I can perform so well, and I'm really happy for that. But yeah, it's home terrain, not terrain I'm used to so much. But yeah, I think it's Czech terrain, so we are at home ground, and it's great for us.
And it must be a great confidence boost performing so well at senior level for you here in this forest competition as well.
Yeah, I'm super how to say it, surprised that I can perform so well, and yeah, it's also a great boost for me and motivation that I'm almost able to compare with the best.
We were impressed as well, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love hearing her talk. She's always like kind of surprised about her own performance. And I think it will give her a big boost. You know, you never really, I think when you come into a senior class, you kind of never really know what to expect. You've been focusing so much on the junior world level, junior world championships. You don't really compete against the really, really top athletes. And then you always kind of get told that it takes a couple of years to settle in. So to have that straight away is a big surprise.
Yeah, and also very humble to say that she's surprised to be so close to the top. I mean, she's very close to the top when you're finishing in. If you have results like this, was she fifth in the long distance, and
yeah,
and today now she's leading, and of course we have still a couple of runners to go, but I mean not all of the runners will come ahead, so she will be top 10 again today, and then you are among the best runners.
Yeah, absolutely. This was this big mistake then from Elisa Matala. And I mean, just to kind of recap why this is so hard, the whole slope pretty much looks the same. It's all the same gradient. It's all at the same kind of angle orientated kind of north-south. All of the rock looks the same. You're trying to find a good kind of point to attack the control and then be on your compass to go kind of diagonally down that slope. And everything still looks the same. It is so hard. And then, of course, to relocate as well.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned it. The thing is, it's not to approach the control. You can have a clear tactical approach to get there. But if you're not getting your athlete points and relocating them, that's where the real problem occurs. And I think that's why we see the mistakes. Everyone has a clear strategy to that control. You can get the control. It's not impossible to get there. But if you struggle, then it's very, very hard to relocate.
Yeah, everything looks the same, and you take what could be a 20-second mistake and it turns into a 2-minute mistake, and that's, yeah, really kind of makes it very, very tricky. So we have Ida Agve Christiansen coming into the finish now, and yeah, she's lost a little bit more time, I think, around the course here. Now about 4 minutes down on the time of Detrikova coming in towards the finish. And big cheers from the Danish team there, supporting her into the finish. But yeah, she's dropped a couple of places since we kind of saw her at control 15, I think, as well. And there she is into 13th position. So Detrikova still our leader, 33.50, and by this point, we've got almost kind of getting into our last 10 runners starting. So the kind of top 10 in the world rankings are put in this kind of the top red group, and then they are randomized within that one. And we have our second to last starter, but our favorite for today's race, Simona Abbas-Old, starting in about 18 minutes time. Starts at 5 p.m. local time. This is Alva Sonnersen, and we're on the way between controls 14 and 15 at the second TV split. Just see, sometimes we can hear our runners coming through the forest a little bit better, quicker than we can see them. So we're on the track between the two controls.
Actually, Alva Sonnersen, as far as I can see, no bigger mistake from her, but she loses time, a little bit of time at every control, so maybe not the best speed here.
But this is weird. She just stopped at control 14.
But we have seen that.
She was right there on the GPS.
Yeah, but we have seen that control at the preview, and it's impossible, or we haven't seen really the control flag, because the control flag is impossible to see if you're not really at this small null. And I think she has not really seen the null. No, that's
So she's
good job
come
by the
out. So
camera
she was
operator.
honestly
Yeah,
her
but she,
her GPS. She was right on the control, but I think she's had to now do an escape
the
out to
thing is,
the. You know, she's made the
she,
decision to come out to the path, and she's going to go in again.
yeah, she's relocating. The thing is that she didn't go far enough, and I don't think that she really had a clear picture how it should look like around the null, which she's looking for. And she basically stopped 5 meters before, this small null where the control is located. And now she gets back and hopes to find it. It's very close to here. It's just there, you can see it. And if you come from the other direction, it's not so easy to see it, because it's very steep from this side, and it's kind of a lower angle if you come from the other side. So you have to almost run around it to see it clearly, and you have to really look for the green behind to get to see the null as well. And I think that was the problem for Alva Sunesson.
Okay, so there's another group here coming in towards control number 8. We've got Frida Wikström, Elisa Mattila, who's with a big mistake to 4. We've also got Ifan Dongen, and Frida Wikström, though, is the quickest of the 3 here. At the moment, Lisa Mattila kind of leading that group.
Yeah, Lisa Mattila with big struggles at control 4. I can also tell you that Denisa Kralova did a mistake there at control 4 as well. One of the favorites to get a good result here in this race. But I think she lost about a minute already early in this competition.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard to recover from, as Wikström goes 7th, over a minute down as well. And we know there's, such a good performance by Dietrichova, but we know others could have the potential to go better. You really need to get that 4th control spot on. And yeah, as you said before, it is possible. Let's just check the routes then here. Look at this. Take a look at Sonesson again. A mistake to control 13. Lots of people just not on the right direction here.
That was before the mistake. Here you can see it, that she stopped. I mean, she was almost at the null. The green, it's hard to see here on the screen, but there's a small light green just behind the control, and you should be really heading towards the light green. Take this as kind of a help for the distance, and go all the way into the light green, actually, to then see the control on the other side of the null. This is Victoria Hesta Björnstad. At the TV control, the second one, 3:51 behind. I think it was about 1.5 minutes at the first TV control. Yeah, a bit more now compared to the leader.
She already lost. She already lost time to 5, and she must have lost a lot of more time between 10 and 15.
Yeah, she did a mistake at control 12 and 13.
Oof. I'm making notes of all the mistakes, or not all of the mistakes, some of the mistakes from people here, and there's so much red pen on my start list because there's so many mistakes.
Yeah, you can keep on writing, because Kralova does a mistake at control 5 as well. And so she missed both the 4th and the 5th control. But this is Paula Groos into 9th position, 2 minutes and 47 seconds behind Lucy Dietrichova.
Cool, it's written down on my start list. Mistakes to 4 and 5 from Kralova. So let's take a look at Hesta Bjornstad. There we go. That's the mistake you said to 12 again, so close to it, and 13 the same too. Again, just getting that really good picture of what you're actually kind of looking for and what else is in the circle, with the vegetation, especially some of the light green kind of being slightly trickier to see. I mean, you say you can use it, but I think people are really struggling to be able to use it. The course setter said some of the light green was very close in terms of runnability to the white. But Teresa Ritourier setting off here in the last 10 starters now. She is the knockout sprint world champion and took 3rd place in the long distance yesterday. Lots of home advantage for her.
I think that's exactly the thing you say there, that the light greens, in terms of runnability, they're very much like the white bits on the map, but you can actually see them. So it's usually when you do the mapping, the green areas, they're mapped due to how many percentage of full speed you can go. So there should be a difference in a green compared to a white when it comes to how much can you run, how quick you can run in it. And here sometimes I get the feeling that in Czechia it's more likely to be a bit more about visibility than actually runnability, which makes it a bit easier to use the green parts for the navigation. Sometimes they're a bit more distinct than in other areas. In continental terrain, often you could even put controls on edges of green areas, which you would never do in Scandinavia. So I think definitely if you plan, you can plan to use them for the navigation to get to the controls.
So Jana Petrova into 38th position in the end. We were kind of spotting her a long way around the course, kind of just seeing a series of mistakes from her. We can head back to the start now for Maria Lausson, who's the next one to begin, the silver medalist from the long distance race. Really a very forest specialist, got a couple of World Cup bronzes in the forest to her name as well, but a couple of days ago that was her best World Cup performance. Can she back it up now here on this middle distance course? Okay, Kralova, let's have a look at this mistake. Jonas, she references a few times. This is what actually happened.
Yeah, you can see that she's kind of gambling in the downhill. Of course, there are a couple of boulders you could get, but it's not the biggest one. So she kind of, for me, it's a bit of a gamble. Then at 5, she's unlucky because she is at very close to that big boulder, and we have seen that before actually, that people are a couple of meters away only, but then don't see the control. So they're not 100% confident that they are where they expect to be when they don't see the control. That's why they then correct and go further down the slope.
Okay, back at the start with Venla Hayu, 6th place in the long distance race. She's got bronze medals in the middle distance at both world and European level, and bags of experience to join it too. Let's take a look to another Finn. This is Inka Nurminen, the European sprint bronze medalist, on her way to control 8. There it is, running alone. And it's a good start here from Nurminen. So Dietrichova still the leader at this point. She's the leader at the finish as well. Nobody yet being able to match that time.
But actually, I mean, Dietrichova did a mistake here on this very leg, so she would have been a bit further ahead of Nurminen. So maybe the speed not exactly as good as for Dietrichova, but she is very close. Right, and
for me, Nurminen's a bit too high as well, but yeah, now she's dropping down kind of via the green. Yeah, this looks okay into here. She's got to make sure she gets around this okay. But yeah, she kind of started off in the line that Dietrichova had, went above both sections of green, and then now has dropped down. So really talking to herself here.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say, this is something quite many, or it's a tactic you can have to talk to yourself in order to keep yourself focused. It's a bit annoying when you're running together with someone in the relay who has that strategy actually. But she is definitely one of the runners, and it is good because it forces you to keep focused. When you talk to yourself what you're about to see, what you expect to see, there's no risk that your thoughts go away and you start kind of singing on songs or anything else.
Yeah, it can happen, and Pia Young-Vick is looking really good here. She was so good at the long distance, but made a mistake on control 29 towards the end. But this is kind of more of what we're expecting to see from this Norwegian, and she's a whole minute now ahead of Dietrichova. Let's have a look then. We're going to add Pia Young-Vick into the mix because clearly she didn't have the best start and was actually behind some of the others here. But let's have a look at her in the stone. She's the one in red. Absolutely spot on. Brilliant direction here for all of these ones. No mistakes at all. And they're neck and neck with Dietrichova. And I think maybe a better, slightly more distinct route into the control as well. Super full of confidence.
Yeah, it was very obvious as well that both Pia Young-Vick and Dietrichova, they almost passed control 7, which shows you that they wanted to see that boulder. Of course, as you mentioned before, they had the map flip, so they don't really, they might have seen it, but they don't really are aware of the fact that the control is right there. But they want to see the big boulders on the way down. They have a clear strategy, and they execute it very well as well. So good job there to the fourth control.
So here's the Frida Wikström group with Eve van Dongen and Elisa Mattila. She is the fastest of these three, and here still in about with a 2-minute gap into 6th position. Hear the beep of the SI unit as she punches the finish, and here into the finish. This is Victoria Hestad Bjornstad from Norway, trying to get inside the top 10 here. Across the line, but mistakes at 5, 12, 13, maybe running a little bit too fast for her orienteering today. It's always hard to tell, but yeah, not a clean race for Victoria Hestad Bjornstad today.
Yeah, another Norwegian struggling a little bit. Marie Olausen, one of few runners struggled at one of the first 3 controls, but she did a mistake at control number 3, I would say about 40 seconds. So now on the way on this long leg towards control 4, the first one in the rocky area.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good watching if you're Lisa Dietrichova, because you keep looking at all these amazing women and they're all kind of making mistakes out here at various different controls. You've got to be feeling happier and happier. Here's Sanna Fast about to begin her race. She's the world silver medalist at the middle distance. A disappointing performance, I think, for her into 16th in the long distance race. And if she can kind of get her technique back together after such a big focus on the sprint this season, you know, she's got a lot of potential in this race. And, you know, the Swedish men did pretty good today. Can she match that? Paula Gross into the finish as well, about 3 minutes down. Of course, no Hannah Lundberg on today's start list, so we don't often expect her to do very well. If you're thinking about Swedish success, and Tova Alexandersson is the middle distance world champion. She's not on the start line today either, but Paula Gross there just inside the top 10 at the moment. Elza Kuza making a mistake at number 4. Smelikova looks like she's a bit offline as well, but here is Marika Taney. 12th place in the long distance, but middle is her best discipline. She really hit her peak with fantastic results in 2018. And I see folding her map up there. Let's go to Maja Cianoja. The Finns, I think, performing really well across this whole competition, especially considering, you know, it's not at all home terrain for them. We do keep, you know, spotting all the Finns through the forest today. And Cianoja, though, he's a couple of minutes down. But here she comes, making her way through the terrain. Really, really good line from her. Not too high, not too low. And sweeps into the control. Into 16th place.
So here we have the replay between Dietrichova, Pia Youngvik. Look at this now. They pass this boulder right there. Pia Youngvik, then you can see, probably can see the second boulder as well, just at the corner of the fourth control of the circle. Allows them to be really precise to control 4. Meanwhile, we have Sianoya went more to the left, didn't get his attack points, and misses the control then. And now we're following Anne Durkorn to the second TV control, but you can see that she is more than 4 minutes behind.
Yeah, Anna Dierko not going to feature really highly in today's race. It's the next Norwegian to this point that we're really looking forward to be Pia Youngvik in only a couple of minutes. See whether she's been able to maintain her lead here. But Dierko, yeah, 4 minutes down is too much in this race. Took quite a high line into that control. Back at the start then, third to last starter Cécile Calandry, fresh from competing at the World University Champs in Portugal. She is European knockout champion, 14th in the long distance. Again, very late on in the start list today. But she's got Abersold only starting 2 minutes behind her. She heads out to begin her course. Let's see what happened to Elza Kuza then to control 4.
Again, one of the runners attacking this control a little bit more from the left, so running parallel or dropping in the slope, which is quite difficult now, trying to relocate there. She gets this boulder. They told us that the boulder she relocated at, it was 8 meters high, so this is really like a huge house in front of you. Here we have Inka Nurminen, but she is hesitating. Does she have control 14 already? I think we are waiting for Pia Youngvik to approach this control, so it was not target of the camera operator to get a picture of Inka Nurminen. Would she get to the control here? She's actually not that far behind Lucy Dietrichova either, but just a couple of seconds. Gotta see Pia Youngvik then as well.
So yeah, Inka Nurminen started 2 minutes before Pia Youngvik. And I'm just trying to remember how much she was leading by at the previous control. It was
about a minute.
Mm-hmm. And it's less than that now.
Yeah, it's definitely less. She must have done a mistake here. She did a mistake at 13.
A bit of a headless chicken situation, really close to the control as well. 13's proved so tricky. Here is Pia Youngvik though, and she's still going to be in the lead, but it wasn't by much. And we saw Dietrichova had a fantastic last section of the course as well. Took another at least 20 seconds out of Ayanaho. Yeah, kind of 30 seconds even. Okay, Teresa Roturier then to control number 9. And she is behind here. She's caught up Alexandra Hornick from Poland by 2 minutes, but it's not been plain sailing here for her, and she's over a minute down as well. Looking back, then the Hayu also making a mistake at control number 4. In fact, she's been overtaken by Sanna Fast, who's got that one much better. But Roturier won but 41 down.
Sanna Fast didn't get it perfect, but much better. Kind of running around that huge boulder. towards control 4. Here we have Pia Youngvik and Lucy Dietrichova. Let's hopefully we can compare them for quite a while, because here we can see the mistake first by Dietrichova. See how big of a difference it makes. Then Pia Youngvik dropping to control 10, maybe a bit advantage Dietrichova at this point, but then now we didn't get to see the mistakes Pia Youngvik did to control 13.
No, because we're going to focus on our favourite, the winner of the long distance race, the European champion, Simona Aebersold. Let's see her on her way through here. And for me, actually, this is probably Aebersold's weakest discipline. She's had some real trouble on some tricky middle distance races over the last few years. I mean, it's all relative, Jonas. I can sense you rolling your eyes at me, but like she does so much consistently better at the other disciplines.
No, yeah, the thing is, well, it's a bit like we had it with Tove Alexandersson. When you have a runner who is so strong physically and very good orienteer as well, then of course in a long distance she has actually time. If she does a mistake, she has time again to turn it away, to turn it around again and come back into a race where she actually did maybe a 2 minutes mistake. I think the problem here in the middle distance is more that she can do a 2 minutes mistake, then get stressed, and then it's harder for her to win. Here actually we can see the mistake by Pia Youngvik, just overshooting this control. You've seen that in the men's race as well. It's a very common thing. Actually, I think this small track there, it can't be too obvious because she was running over. She kind of passed it as well. And here you can see it's a little bit of hesitation by Dietrichova into 14.
Well, it looks like it's a ride, it's an extraction lane. You can tell in that part of the woods there's been a lot of forestry work. So, if a tractor's driven in there and out there a couple of times, that's what you've got, I guess, on the ground. It's not a proper path. This is our last starter, though. Ida Haapala from Finland was 8th place in the long distance. And you can see heading into the kind of dark section, into the shadows of the forest. She is our last starter. And Aebersold is on her way to control number 4. We'll keep an eye on that for you as well.
Interesting, looking at the GPS of Pia Youngvik, she has punch control 16, so that's the one in the, almost dark green area. And then you have 17, where we had many of the men going out on the street. Pia Youngvik actually chose to go up the path. Many of the women did that. We almost never saw that in the men's race. So this is going to be interesting to follow if this is paying off, just trying to figure out if that's actually a good option or not.
I think it was. I think that's where Dietrichova took the high route up to control 17. So the two of them, at least in contention at the moment, have both taken the same way, I think.
But we have to say that the quickest so far was Lily Graber, and she kind of followed the valley all the way to 17. Pia Youngvik, Dietrichova was 19 seconds slower. I think Pia Youngvik lost 21 seconds, so it's quite close anyway.
Sienoja here at control 15, already losing time at control number 4, like many around her. So much red pen on my start list as I try and keep track of where people have made mistakes. And Aebersold is on her way in towards control number 4 now. She's gone again very, very close to control 7.
Are you really using a red pen, or are you just saying this because the color matches kind of the mistakes?
Got a red pen.
Yeah, it is. It's such a cliche, Catherine, that you're using a red pen for the mistakes.
Yeah, I'm like a teacher marking them down.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, let's take the finish now for Anna Dukorn. And again, mistakes in the forest for Anna Dukorn today. not going to match her performance in the long distance where she was 15th. 5 minutes down. And still Lucy Dietrichova with the fastest time. But we have got Pia Young-Vik really close to the arena now, and she is the one who's going to be able to challenge that. Saw this just a few minutes earlier with Frida Wikström there, and she went into, where does she go? Just waiting for the times to come up, because the split times are all a bit all over the place.
This is a replay here, so disqualification for Wikström.
Ah. She punched.
Is it just
was there a
Wikström?
different control? It's all of them.
It must be all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it is Matila, Ifandong and Wikström. Yeah, there must be a control from another of the courses there. Not the news you want to hear.
It was not the men's
I was trying to find her on the results, and
yeah.
I was trying to find her on the results. I was like, why can't I find her? Where is she? And obviously it's because she made the mistake there. Okay, let's take a look at Sanna Fast. Just hasn't quite got control here in the circle.
A massive disadvantage there, plus 699. Now I can tell you as well that
the controls are having a bit of a nightmare. It's really hard to keep track of the times.
I can tell you though, if you want to keep track on Simona Aebersold, she didn't have any problems at all at 4, 5 and 6. So very soon on the way to the last control in this stony area, just right now at the map flip, and very close to Cécile Gallandry.
Yeah, so the danger bit done for Simona Aebersold. The Sanna Fast comes through here. Punches the 9th control. There we go, into 3rd position at the moment. 1 minute 13 down. Shows you how fast, the speed of Pia Young-Vik. She was nearly a minute ahead. This is Inka Nurminen coming through now. And she's going to be outside the top 3, but it's a pretty good race for her here today. Coming through all the way to the line. So the next one's going to be Pia Young-Vik.
Just about to say that. We know that Pia Young-Vik was just a couple of seconds behind Inka Nurminen at the second TV control, but wasn't she closer to Nurminen?
Yeah,
at the TV
and she
control?
needs to be here in the next 4 seconds to get faster than Dietrichova, because it's not going to be enough, I think, here for Pia Young-Vik. It's not going to be enough. Norway into 2nd place. 6 seconds, and she needed to be just 4 seconds behind Nurminen there. She's big thumbs down for Pia Young-Vik there. I have no idea what happened here, because there we have double thumbs up from Lucy Dietrichova, who's trying to keep calm here, as she's just seen the biggest challenger so far to her lead make a mistake. I don't know what happened there. We're going to have to go back to the GPS and see a replay here, because she was a minute ahead. Oh, goodness me. We thought this kind of last part of the race, Jonas, was going to be fairly straightforward, but we've seen medals be decided here.
She did a small mistake at 16, and I think she was not very distinct on the last couple of controls where we had Dietrichova, a bit like Wojtek Knoll in the men's race, just executing all the legs very, very good. So I think the main damage happened at 16.
You're mixing up your Czech athletes with surnames beginning with a K. I think you mean Krivda. You said Wojtek Kral.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I meant Krivda, of course. Wojtek Kral is not even running today, is he?
No, he's not. But he, the peak of his orienteering abilities, he would have been right up there. Here's Van der Hayu. Yeah, another mistake there on control number 4. I've seen it so many times, and I think those who are coming just to the left of the line here have nothing to go on to get into the control. If you're right of the line, people coming by control 7 using that big boulder, they've really managed to get a good direction in there. Kralova mistakes at 4 and 5 outside the top 20 in the end. We thought, we're kind of putting a lot of promise and expectation on the Czech athletes, especially after Krivda winning the men's. But I think it's going to be the youngster in the lead at the moment, with Dietrichova still in the lead.
And we have another mistake out in the forest, this time by Marie Olausen at control 11. I don't really know, it looks like she has been at the control, but then turning back with a mistake. But let's first hear from Pia Youngvik then.
Here with Norway's Pia Youngvik into the second place, just 6 seconds behind Lucy Dietrichova. We saw you taking your thumb down, Pia. What was your thoughts here after the race?
Oh, I'm just annoyed after several small mistakes that probably were a lot more than 6 seconds. But yeah, I guess you need to do a perfect race to be on top at the middle distance.
And what do you think was so challenging today that you and many others also made mistakes like this?
Well, it is a challenging terrain with a lot of similar details all the way. You need to be really sharp on your direction to hit the right one, and otherwise it's easy to get lost.
I think we saw one of your mistakes at control 13. Could you remember what happens there?
Yeah, I guess I started out running without taking a good enough direction, and then when you're a few angles away and you see a stone and you're running towards it and then it's the wrong one, then yeah, it took some time to find my way to the right stone.
This could still be a top 5 or 6 position for you today. Can you find any satisfaction in that, or are you just disappointed now?
Yeah, it's both. I think I'm very happy that I once again managed to do a good race, but it would be fun to be even higher. But yeah, I'm half satisfied.
There's a new chance again tomorrow at the relays. Thank you, Pia.
Thank you.
Abersol then here at control number 9, and she's 17 seconds behind Pia Youngvik, but crucially she is 40 seconds ahead of Lucy Dietrichova. Yeah, too many errors, and you just need good direction. I think there's, do you waste time taking a compass bearing on such a short control, 12 to 13, it's straight down the hill. We've seen so many people get a bad direction from 12 to 13. You absolutely do.
Interesting here, actually, that Simona Abersol, the first one really using this meadow and avoiding the climb. It's so good runnability. I think it's okay to stay closer to the red line, and you don't have to really avoid the climb if it's just about 5 to 10 meters and runnability is so good. But in the end, I mean, this is going to be she's going to maybe lose 5 seconds there. So she's definitely not losing the race at this point.
Yeah, Sienoya here inside the top 10, still 3 minutes 16. And I'm just looking at kind of who else is out there at the moment, who might be the ones who can challenge. Obviously, we saw Sanna Fast looking pretty good through at the first TV split. Obviously, Abersol is on her way round now, is running faster than Dietrichova. So are those the ones we're kind of looking at now?
Yeah, I mean, Abersol, Marika Tain is still out there. Sanna Fast is still out there. And otherwise, I don't think there is much more to come. So I think looks very, very good for Dietrichova to get a top 3 today. And my guess would be that it's between her and Simona Abersol.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Here's Ida Haapala coming down towards control number 8 at the moment. Yeah, I think Sanna Fast is not quite close enough at the previous control, but Abersol absolutely is. Haapala is not going to be too far away from Dietrichova's time.
No, not from Dietrichova, but it is quite the gap to Abersol. It's going to be about 30, 35, and she's close to Dietrichova. Dietrichova had quite a good run from here, so you have to bring it all the way to the finish, and especially the last couple of controls. It's a bit the same situation as we had with, as I mentioned before, with this time I say it right, with Thomas Krivda. And where we had him, he executed it so well in the end. So it's even if you're close here, you almost have to go perfect to the finish in order to have a chance. And that's just, she has already done it. The others have to do it and be quicker doing it as well. So that's a bit of but the situation we face right now. Here we have the replay of we have Dietrichova, Pia Youngvik, Simona Abersold, and Ida Haapala. On the last controls, you can see that Abersold has a good speed here, a bit of a different approach. I think it goes very, very similar to Kasper Fosse in the men's race. Almost all of the top runners, they passed the 7th control on the way to the 4th control. And now we are behind Sanna Fast. You can see that she can actually spot Marie Olausen in front of her. Olausen did a big mistake at control 11. Then get caught by Sanna Fast. And well, she is still within half a minute compared to Dietrichova. And now they are together. I mean, now that actually would be quite a good situation because it's easier to push if you're 2 runners. But she has to be half a minute quicker. That's a problem. And half a minute is quite a lot if, and we know, I mean, Dietrichova, 16-17, you can be 20 seconds quicker. But otherwise, it was quite okay what she did here.
Yeah, and she really executed that last bit as well. You know, had the whole crowd behind her when she got into the arena too. So, yeah, there's certainly Fast still in contention for a top 3. As is, of course, Abersold, is Haapala. But those are the standings at split control number 1 then, with everybody through, Ida Haapala being the last starter. And we can now bring you the full standings at control number 9. Abersold has caught Calandri, is on her way to control number 12. Remember, we get the time check at control number 15.
And actually, control number 13 is one that many of the runners missed earlier. So this is going to be quite interesting. But again, here, they are 2 runners. And in case we have Cécile Calandri quite active as well, it's much less of a risk to do a mistake here. And they have actually quite good direction as well.
Okay, so a couple of runners here in the arena. This is Teresa Roturier and Alexandra Hornick, Czechia and Poland coming into the finish here. And as you can see, not quite as good a run from Roturier today, but she's striding out in front of the crowd here. And she'll be more than 2 minutes down in the end. I think just gradually losing some time throughout the whole course for me. But still, she will be cheered into the finish.
I'm not really sure if this performance today is so much worse compared to the long distance. In the long distance, she was a long time together with other runners and kind of having a bit of an advantage. Here, she did most of the job herself, and it is a result. I mean, now she's in 7th. She will be in the top 10. I think that's quite a good performance as well today.
This is Marie Katani on her way to split 2 to the 15th control. But Abersold and Calandri are going to be here very soon. There's Ven Lahayu coming at it from another direction. Maybe a small mistake there. Taney into 6th at the moment. Head of the young runner Clara Borg, who was, if you remember, the 2nd starter. This is Smelikova, Teresa Smelikova from Slovakia. Her best World Cup result is 13th, and this is pretty good here.
Oh, she's going to beat that.
She's flying through the last part of this race, and look at the speed she's able to pick up here on the run-in. She's definitely going to beat that 13th best, which was the European Champs middle distance. And a great run here from Smelikova, who didn't run the long distance. Barely seen her on the broadcast, and this is a fantastic finish from the athlete from Slovakia here to go into 4th place. Very good.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, she lost. She was already 1.5 minutes behind at the first radio control, so before the first TV control. And now it's still 1.5 minutes in the finish. So she didn't lose that much more time compared to Dietrichova, but maybe then compared to Abersol, because now we have a new clear best time here.
She's a minute and a half faster than our current leader as well, with Calandri also doing a fantastic job. And she's sitting on the heels of Simona Abersold here. Actually now maybe dropping a little bit more down compared to the Swiss runner. Let's have a look at the times then. The GPS tracking.
Better executed here to 10 by Abersold compared to Pia Youngvik. You can see that they're still very close to each other at 11, but seems like Abersold more distinct, better in the navigation with the green. Then we had this mistake at 13 for Pia Youngvik. Yeah, and she knows it. Now it's not 2 thumbs up anymore. Maybe it's just one of them, but one should keep up, should stay up there for sure.
Yeah, let's wait and see though. There's still a few tricky controls still to come, as Elsa Kuza with some big mistakes from her around there into 48th position. There's this tricky 16th control to come. And of course, you've got to think with Calandri now alongside Abersold. If Abersold pulls up 2 minutes on Dietrichova and Calandri can stay there, then that's Calandri ahead of Dietrichova as well, having started 2 minutes before the Swiss European champion. Elsa Kuza just, I think, taking another look at those rocks at the northern part of the map that have proven so tricky. I mean, we've seen so many people just losing massive amounts of time, or just significant amounts of time, significant in the race. And those who are at the top of this results list now are the ones who've been able to do that kind of controls 4 and 5 particularly very, very well. So we've got Sanafast coming in, we've got Abersold, Calandri, we've got Ida Happala, although Ida Happala's made a mistake to control number 11 as well. So those are the standings at the finish, but there's still all to play for, with some fast women coming through very, very soon.
Yeah, and of course it would be very unfortunate for Lucie Dietrichova if Simona Abersold would take Cécile Gallandry all the way to the second position. Gallandry was caught at the TV control, so just a couple of meters before the first TV control. This is a mistake here by Ida Happala. Something similar to what Maria Olausen did as well. So maybe not too easy to run the yellow area there in order to get to the boulder.
Yeah, so Happala was second quicker of Dietrichova at control number 9, but obviously that mistake there, I mean, it will be hard to contend with the current leader.
And Abersold heading early up in the slope to control 17. Not been necessary. Don't know if she's doing a mistake or if it's planned, but in my taste, it was a bit early to head up, but I don't think she's going to miss the control.
No, you can kind of follow a line of rocks where it gets a little bit steeper there, and actually it funnels you into the control quite nicely, I think. This is Sanafast then, here to the finish. He's caught up on Maria Olausen, who made a big mistake at 11. And Sanafast here, the world middle distance silver medalist, coming into the finish here. It's not going to be enough for a top 2 though today. She will be slower than Dietrichova. She will be slower, I think, than Pia Youngvik as well. But it's still going to be a pretty good run from her, and actually massively improved on her long distance run as well when she was 16. This is a much, much better performance, much more what we like and what we expect to see from Sanafast. And in the end, 3rd place at the moment for her, 16 seconds behind Dietrichova. And yeah, much more, I think, Jonas, of what we expect to see from this incredible athlete.
Yeah, but very, you named it. It was a very good reaction after the long distance where she couldn't be satisfied. I mean, this, in a way, this kind of terrain should suit her because she is very strong physically, and you can really play that card in bits here. But to turn it around after a disappointment like in the long distance and then come back with a performance like this. That's a big thumb up for her as well.
So yeah, Lucy Dietrichova still looking at the results there, and we can see we're live then with the other athletes who are making their way towards the finish. So Hayu and Taney, we know they've both made, well, Venla Hayu definitely made mistakes there. So we're looking at that orange sign of Abasol. I think the only one who's going to really be able to challenge Dietrichova here at the finish, and she was a minute and a half ahead. We've not seen a minute and a half's worth of mistakes from Abasol. Don't know that we've seen any mistakes from Abasol today. A pretty perfect race, as we can see Ida Hapola through. She was ahead of Lucy Dietrichova at number 9, and my goodness me, that is a lot of time lost then here on that mistake that we saw her mistake to control number 11 here, and she's just like that 4 minutes down. Although she is 4 minutes down on Abasol, who's got a minute 35 lead. But yeah, it was going so well for Ida Hapola. I mean, she managed that tricky section in the rock, but actually that's what I quite like about this course, is there's so many different parts to it. You've got a part that they kind of said was a bit easier at the start, then you have the rocky section in the white, then you have the section in the green, and then this kind of quite a busy section of map towards the end as well. But there we go, Ida Hapola on her way through to control 16. Those are standings at split 2.
And now actually we should have Abasol. I think we see them here just behind the graphics, come to the last control. And the interesting thing is that I think that Gallantry is ahead of Dietrichova now as well.
Well, she has overtaken Taney and Hayu here, just on this way from 18 to 19, and let's see if it's going to be enough. It will be enough for Abasol to take a huge win here today, but will Kalondri get into a silver medal position as well, as we see the two Finns as well, Taney, then Hayu, then Kalondri here, as you can see, 50 seconds for a silver medal position for her. So Abasol comes through here, and it's going to be another win then for Simona Abasol, her second win of this World Cup. Successfully transitioning again from the sprint to the forest, a masterclass. No real mistakes that I've seen from Abasol. Maybe a few small hesitations, but really strong work from her. And Kalondri has done enough then to get the silver medal, pushing Lucy Dietrichova from Czechia into third place. So Kalondri from France into second will be her best ever forest result. And it will be hers as well. It will be Lucy Dietrichova's best ever result as well for in the forest.
I feel a bit for Lucy Dietrichova. She would have deserved this silver position. I mean, Gallantry did a good race also until she was caught, but it was very obvious that she would not have beaten Lucy Dietrichova today if she had another starting position. I don't want to say that she doesn't deserve a spot in the top 3, but it's very obvious. I mean, she is 2 minutes behind at the second radio after 17 minutes, and is still 2 minutes after double the time. So it's a bit unfortunate for Lucy Dietrichova. It was a good start for Gallantry. Nevertheless, she deserves a good result. I don't think, it would have been tough for her to get the silver, I think, without the help of Simona Abasol. But what a performance again by Simona, who after dominating the sprint, the individual sprint at the World Championships, now wins this World Cup middle distance with 2 minutes and 7 seconds, and let's be honest, it would have been 2 minutes and 29 seconds otherwise, probably, which is a lot in the middle distance. Maybe not as impressive as the more than 1 minute victory in the sprint at the World Championships, but it is a lot still.
Yeah, she's continuing that incredible form in this time trial format. 2 minutes is significant in the middle distance race. She's going to try and cool off a little bit here in this arena. And yeah, I mean, I mean, there with the absence of some of the kind of top runners in the women's race, like Hannah Lundberg not making it here either. Obviously, Alexanderson focusing on other sports this year. Natalia Gempele, exactly. There's a Andrea Benjaminsen is injured as well. It kind of does maybe provide a little bit more space for Abersol than she's been used to, but she's got to put it together, and she did a pretty flawless race. Maybe losing a bit of time on number 8, but that was about it.
But you can see it's very obvious to see that all 3 here had a clear strategy and exactly the same route to the 4th control. That's how you have to execute it, or you should execute it if you want to play itself, if you want to have a clear attack point, even in the rocky area. You can see that Gallantry, she has a good race until 7 as well. She didn't have any mistakes until then. She was still all alone. She was caught at control 8 then, but they had different routes, Simone Abersol and Cécile Gallantry. And at this point, Dietrichova still ahead, so she loses those 2.5 minutes from control 8 to first couple of seconds here at control 9 when she does a mistake. She said that there was a green area as well. That's true, but still she should drop 10 meters. She didn't do that. Then many of the runners struggled a bit here at control 11 and the next controls 12, 13 and 14 as well, where you had to do a lot of navigation with direction and with the green areas. Abersol really, this is just after the playbook, as Thomas Krifta said it already after his run. That's exactly how you execute things like this. Dietrichova to 16, playing a bit safe. Then I think this is one of the decisive moments maybe when she goes up there. I don't think it was quicker compared to the lower route, and she drops behind Gallantry at this place just towards the end. And then, of course, together with Simone Abersol, she could get into this silver position. But what a great day for the Czech team with a victory in the men's race and then a bronze in the women's race. But let's hear from Abersol.
Simone Abersol of Switzerland, another win for you here in Czechia. Take us through your race.
Well, it was quite tricky from the very beginning, but not as tricky as I thought it would be on the first 2 controls. But then there was some really tricky section around some boulders and lots of rocks. So there I knew that I had to take my time to read into the control circles and then also use the control description. I almost never do that, but here I checked it to know on which side of the rock the control was, and it was totally worth it. And I felt like I was in a good flow all the way, and took my time when I needed it.
Yeah, because we see so many of the other athletes doing mistakes, 1 minute here, 1 minute there. How do you think you avoided that?
Yeah, as I said, I think I had a good rhythm with speeding up in the parts where you didn't have to read the map that carefully, but then almost doing some stop and go orienteering with knowing until where I could run, and then standing still, reading to the next checkpoint, and then looking into the terrain, seeing that again, and I think that was a really good tactic for today.
And today's the course seems very varied. There's the green areas, there's the white rocky areas. What do you think is the hardest part to navigate in?
It's hard to say, but I think it's I thought it was the most difficult, where there were lots of rocks, like those rock fields where you have to navigate or see on the ground where you could run, but at the same time navigate and see which rocks were on the map and which ones were just the rock field below. So I think that was the trickiest part.
And you've shown great strength here, great physical performance for you these 2 days. Tomorrow, the relay. What do you think of the Swiss chances tomorrow?
Well, we have a completely new team, so I'm really excited for tomorrow. We don't have the team yet, but it will be selected tonight, and I'm really excited to know the team first and then run tomorrow again, because this terrain is really cool and I think it suits us Swiss pretty well as well.
We're excited for the relays as well. Congratulations on your win today, Simone.
Thank you very much.
Ellington said with the questions there, I've been enjoying his questions that he's been putting to all of the athletes today. And yeah, just to hear from Simona where she kind of found those most tricky parts as well, and really kind of stopping to see the crucial parts. Although I'm surprised to hear that she doesn't often use her control descriptions. They were essential today.
What I thought was quite interesting is that she points out the rocky parts as the most difficult ones, which I totally understand. But if you look at the splits, it's actually the part where she is behind Lucy Dietrichova, who did a great job in this, especially in these rocky areas. And it shows a bit that, okay, but maybe that's something the Czech runners are a bit more used to compared to the Swiss runners. Because as I mentioned, it looks very much like a map in Switzerland if you would take away all the rocky areas. And interesting to hear that she thinks this is more difficult compared to the green areas, because I think many of the other runners would maybe say that it is a bit harder to navigate with the vegetation in the second part, and a bit harder to avoid the smaller mistakes and really get a good rhythm. Then, of course, we have seen many big, or as you would say, massive mistakes in the beginning of the course.
I would say abysmal mistakes, Jonas. So you mean
abysmal mistakes?
But yeah. And it's pushed a lot of our big top runners right the way down the ranking list. A shout out to Evelina Ojanahofer, 6th position for her from Finland, the best Finn, and she's a pretty young runner as well, so great to see her performing so well. Clara Borg from Sweden got 11th. She was the second starter. It's her senior debut as well, and great to see Eva Ernhagen Jorgensen taking 14th spot for Denmark as well, and one of those upcoming runners too. So yeah, I mean, today's had, I think, probably more mistakes, more excitement than I think that I was expecting, Jonas.
Yeah, but I remember when I saw the map for the first time, it was very obvious for me that we will see quite big mistakes at control. Now in the women's race at control 4 and 5, so it was not unexpected that the runners would struggle more technically in this kind of terrain with this kind of challenge compared to what the long distance brought 2 days ago. Then, of course, when a long distance should be different as well. It shouldn't be really the technical execution within the circle that's the problem. It should be about the keeping the speed up over a long time and getting the route choices right. So I think that the course planners actually did a great job as well today. Also, if you look at the expected running time and the actual winning time, it's was it 9 seconds in the men's race, and it is 39 seconds in the women's race. Yeah. So yeah, that's very, very good. So great. And different parts in this middle section with the stony areas and the green areas, different challenge. That's exactly how you should have a middle distance. The only little thing, if there's anything, there was no real route choice in a matter where they can have different. Now the route choice 1 or 3 to 4 was a bit more about how do I get to the control and still can I keep up a good concept, and not really is this route quicker than the other. But it was a great course.
Yeah, and the best ever forest result for Lucy Dietrichova in her first year as a senior. 5th in the long distance, now 3rd place today to join her bronze medal from the sprint race at the World Championships. So really proving herself an all-rounder as well on the home soil as well. Calandri here today taking the silver medal position, her best ever forest result as well. She does have a bronze medal from the World Cup in the middle distance before, but upgrading that by 1 here. And she wasn't caught until control 10, I think it was, just looking back. So basically surviving that first part. I mean, not just surviving that first part, being really good in that first part before being caught by this woman here. Another win for Simona Abersold on the World Cup. A win by over 2 minutes. This woman isn't just winning races, she's winning them by big margins. Catching up more people again and proving she can do it on all sorts of different terrain. So the top of the podium once again for Simona Aebersold, and we're going to start to think about the relays coming up as well. As she mentioned, as you know, no Natalia Gempeler for her in her team there. Lily Graber was the next best Swiss down in 9th, and then Paula Gross in 18th. So maybe the Swiss not quite as big a favourites as we would have them otherwise. On this terrain, maybe we'll see if the Czech team can put together something special in both the men's and the women's relays over tomorrow. But yeah, these athletes are going to have to get work on their flower throwing, and they're going to have to make a big rest, because it's actually the women's relay that's going to be first tomorrow, then the men's relay. So they've not got very long to kind of recover, get some fueling, go through anti-doping, all of that kind of thing, before they're going to be back at this arena again here tomorrow, and we can get ready for what we hope to be a really big and thrilling relay. Sorts of signatures then for the from the top athletes. It's probably something for social media, I don't know. But yeah, I guess we can look forward to an exciting relay tomorrow, and hopefully a lot of teams in contention as well, Jonas.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight one tomorrow. I hope so, at least. We have seen it is very, very tight. I'm not concerned about the men's competition. This is going to be a tight one. But if you look, yeah, I mean, it's always Team Sweden looks very good in the women's relay as well. If you look at the names, maybe, yeah, if you look at the result here, it's only Sweden, but then you have Finland with many. What I think is interesting, and Simona mentioned that for the Swiss team, and it's kind of suits for other teams as well. It will be a new team in Switzerland. It's Simona Aebersold, probably Lily Graber, and maybe Paula Gross. Kind of new names in the relay team. If you look at the Swedish team, you have Sanna Fass. Then, if you look at the results today, could be Clara Bori, could be Freya Järne. Many new names in the Swedish team. So we have a strong Czech team for sure on home soil with many good results. Then I think it's going to be interesting to follow. And as we have seen, this kind of terrain, especially when you have many runners together, it opens up for a tight relay. So it's going to be exciting for sure.
Yeah, it really will be. At the moment, the golden couple of orienteering still at the top of the World Cup standings, Simona Aebersold and Kasper Fosser, even with a 6th place from Kasper Fosser from today's middle distance. But yes, we'll leave you with some pictures from the terrain, and set your alarm clocks, as we'll be back tomorrow morning then for the relay. We'll hope to have some more exciting and rapid racing for you to enjoy. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.